To the Wareham Gatemen tonight as they're coming off a 7-3 victory against the Brewster Whitecaps yesterday at Stony Brook Field. But tonight, the Dores have a lot on the line as they could move up to 4th place in the Western Division. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on today's edition of Opening the Door, alongside today's play-by-play broadcaster Trey, Redfield, and today's color commentator Carter Bainbridge, Logan Soforenko with you. I'll be on the field providing updates for you throughout the entirety of the game. And folks, let's jump right into things. Trey, last night we saw a Falmouth Commodores team have a complete victory, but tonight there's a lot on the line.
Oh, there's so much on the line. It's getting to that point of the season, Logan, where you're in the second half, and when you're in the second half, you start looking ahead of the schedule, figure out what other teams are doing, and tonight it's one of those games. The Commodores taking on the Gatemen, and if Falmouth wins tonight, it jumps Wareham in the standings, and that's so important because right now Falmouth is in 5th place. You have to be 4th place or above in your division to make the playoffs, so if the Dores get it done against the Gatemen, then they can find themselves in 4th place. That is so important because you got to win tonight and you just got to keep it going as well.
So important, especially heading into the off day tomorrow where they'll be at Fenway Park. But Carter, yesterday at Stony Brook Field, for the second time this season, the Falmouth Commodores put up a 4 spot in the first inning, and hey, they won the game at Stony Brook.
Yeah, it was the first game the Dores had played this season where it was shortened by darkness at one of the fields without lights. But that 4-run first probably would have been enough anyway. For the second game, like you said, in as many trips to Stony Brook Field, the Dores did all that damage with 2 outs. So that was clutch hitting against the Whitecaps yesterday. They scored often yesterday. They scored a lot. And they made the defending champion Brewster Whitecaps into losers for the second time in 3 games in this season series. So the Dores have now won 5 of their last 7 games. Like Trey said, every game is that much more important now. So always a good thing to come away with a win on the road, especially out in the Eastern Division.
The Falmouth Commodores only go to a field without lights one more time this season. It's Lowell Park in a week. We'll get to that a little bit later. But, Trey, we're going to see a starting pitcher for the Falmouth Commodores in Josh Hartle, who has had some stuff working for him, and especially when it comes to the shutout category. He shut out Chatham, and he shut out Katuitt. What's it going to be for him tonight?
Well, you hope it's going to be a shutout, right? 1, because Hartle is just a ground ball pitcher, and 2, with that, he's just a guy, if you blink, you may miss him because he doesn't throw that many pitches. He makes guys get jammed in the batter's box. He doesn't strike out too many guys. When we were in Chatham, Josh Hartle was starting. We got out of there like that. It was 2 hours and 30 minutes. That's what the game time was. Expect Hartle to do something similar tonight if he has his stuff working for him, because I'll tell you what, he is really good at jamming hitters and keeping balls in the infield. It's really important for the defense to step up tonight, a defense that is yet to go errorless in a game this season.
Well, you mentioned that Chatham game. That duration of that game was actually shorter than one of the 7-inning doubleheaders against the Orleans Firebirds. But, Carter, they're going to go up against a Wareham pitcher that is looking to bounce back after last night. The Wareham Gatemen were defeated by the YD Red Sox 4-2.
Yeah, pitching has been a weak spot for the Wareham Gatemen lately, so they send starter Michael Sansone to the mound tonight after coming over from Fairfield this spring. He's been a reliable starter for the Gatemen this summer. So far, 4 starts. The ERA a little high at 4.82, but it's a little misleading. His second start of the season was not very good, only 3 2/3, 5 earned runs, but his last 2 starts, 5 innings and 6 innings. We've seen the Dores have trouble with starters who go longer into games. They seem to jump on guys early, miss some chances, and then start to slow down on offense. So it's an important thing for Falmouth tonight to get off to a good start against Sansone, jump on him early, similar to what we saw the Dores do yesterday out at Stony Brook Field.
And something they did yesterday was score runs throughout the entirety of the game. They had 4 in the first inning and then 3 in the 5th inning. But, Carter, I'm going to come back to you because about 2 weeks ago when the Wareham Gatemen and the Falmouth Commodores last squared off, that was the first time we saw this new identity of a team. We didn't see Braden Taylor and the Team USA guys because that's where they are now, but these Arkansas guys have really been contributing, and especially yesterday with Jackson Nicholas, he got his first RBI from Oklahoma.
Yeah, the newcomers for Falmouth lately have been stepping up. We saw some subtractions on this roster from Braden Taylor, Maui Ahuna, Jack Peyton. Those guys have been sorely missed. They were really solid hitters. They helped this team out a lot. But Jackson Nicholas, like you said, Travis Chestnut is in the mix as well. Peyton Stovall, since coming over from Arkansas, has played second base every day. He's just an on-base machine. Jace Borfin, didn't see him in the lineup yesterday, but be on the lookout for him today, either starting or off the bench. Another Arkansas Razorback who's been hot with the bat since coming over from Fayetteville. So the Dores had some losses, but they've bounced back in a big way. They've been playing hot baseball as of late, and they have some newcomers, the guy we just talked about, to thank for that.
Well, you talked about Peyton Stovall. Peyton Stovall has yet to strike out in 8 days of work. And Trey, when it comes to tonight, you mentioned the stakes. They're very high, but the offense has to stay hot throughout the entirety of the game, just like yesterday. So for Trey's takes today, what's it going to be is you're going to be up in the booth calling the game tonight.
Yeah, finally. You know, it's July 10th, and I finally get a home TV play-by-play game. We'll take that any day of the week. But you took the words right out of my mouth about Trey's takes. It's just hit the ball, put it in play, and get on base. That's the only way the Falmouth Commodores are going to stay in this one tonight, knowing how well the Gatemen hit on the other side. So it's really important for Falmouth in its top of the order to get things going. We saw a lot of productivity from Alex Mooney and Colby Halter. The 1-2 punch, they fist bump each other before every time they come up to bat. They say, let's do this. So, Alex, Colby, let's do this, boys. Let's get a win tonight.
Indeed, let's have some fun. The Falmouth Commodores have had a lot of fun with Eastern Division teams, but tonight they got that Western Division rival in the Wareham Gatemen. We'll have first pitch for you at 6 o'clock. You can tune into the Falmouth Commodores YouTube channel to hear Carter Bainbridge on the color and Trey Redfield on the play-by-play. I'll be providing updates on the field throughout the entirety of the game. But thank you so much for joining us on today's edition of Opening the Door. We'll see you real soon.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to Guv Fuller Field for tonight's matchup between the Wareham Gatemen and your own Falmouth Commodores. First, the lineup for the visiting Wareham Gatemen. Leading off, the center fielder from Arizona, number 11, Chase Davis. Batting second, the left fielder from UNC Greensboro, number 18, Hogan Windish. Batting third, the designated hitter from Nebraska, number 15, Max Anderson. Batting fourth, the right fielder from Mississippi State, number 7, Kellum Clark. Batting fifth, the catcher from Arizona State, number 11, Ryan Campos. Batting sixth, the first baseman from Stanford, number 40, Carter Graham. Batting seventh, the shortstop from Clemson, number 8, Blake Wright. Batting eighth, the second baseman from Xavier, number 10, Jack Hausinger. Batting ninth, the third baseman from Florida, number 37, Derek Fabian. And on the mound tonight from Fairfield, number 51, Michael Sansone. And now, the lineup for your Falmouth Commodores. Leading off, the shortstop from Duke, number 4, Alex Mooney. Batting second, the catcher from Oregon, number 12, Josiah Cromwick. Batting third, the second baseman from Arkansas, number 10, Peyton Stovall. Batting fourth, the first baseman from Oregon, number 33, Jacob Walsh. Batting fifth, the center fielder from Alabama, number 24, Andrew Pinkney. Batting sixth, the right fielder from South Florida, number 16, Drew Brutcher. Batting 7th, the third baseman from Oklahoma, number 21, Jackson Nicholas. Batting 8th, the left fielder from TCU, number 6, Luke Boyers. Batting 9th, the designated hitter from Texas A&M, number 2, Travis Chestnut. And on the mound tonight from Wake Forest, number 37, Josh Hartle. Throwing out the first pitch tonight is Jim Holzman. Jim is the founder and owner of Ace Ticket, a 14-year Falmouth summer resident and Commodores fan whose son Chase spent 7 years attending Commodores baseball camp. Ace Ticket has been a proud Falmouth Commodores sponsor for over 10 years and is excited to be putting our first-class team in first-class uniforms with the Ace Ticket patch on their sleeve. All right, Jim, let's see a strike.
Welcome back to Guv Fuller Field. Carter Bainbridge here with this latest edition of Hot Seat, this time with Falmouth shortstop Alex Mooney. Alex, thanks so much for taking the time with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, so getting right into things, this season you've been with this team since pretty much the first game. You hit second for the first game of the season, but you've been in leadoff a lot of the year. Is that something that you did at Duke a lot, and how have you adapted to that spot this summer?
Yeah, I did it at Duke for about 30 games, so I'm pretty used to it. I didn't really have to adapt too much, so it's been good. But I just try to get on base as much as possible and steal bags, and that's what the leadoff guy is supposed to do. So it hasn't been too much of an adjustment.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have any pregame rituals to get yourself ready for stepping up and being the first guy to hit in the ball game?
Not really. Colby will tell you I always give him a fist bump, say let's do this. But other than that, I mean, just be loose, be ready to hit the first pitch, so you're not getting surprised. But nothing superstitious.
Yeah, definitely. I asked that because you seem to always come to the park with that eye black. How long does that take to get ready?
It's a quick little thing in the locker room, probably 30 seconds to a minute. So it's been a thing I've been doing for like 2 years now. So I can't stop now. I got to keep going with it. So keep doing it.
Yeah, definitely. And how about the mustache? Because I don't remember that being here game one, but you've been working on that this summer.
Yeah, so that's a long story. Me and Levi actually shaved the mustaches down and then dyed them with jet black hair dye. And since then, the Dores are undefeated. So
yeah, for sure. You're from Rochester Hills, Michigan, that right?
Yep.
So you're a Detroit sports fan?
I'm a huge Detroit sports fan for everything. So yes, I am.
A little unfortunate, but yeah. How about this? When you go back to Rochester Hills, are there any food that you look forward to eating, whether that's home cooked or restaurant?
Definitely home cooked. My mom makes great food, so steak, pasta, chicken, you name it. It's always out there when I get home from wherever I'm at. So definitely looking forward to mom's cooking.
All right, awesome. Well, this has been Carter Bainbridge along with Alex Mooney on this edition of Hot Seat. The Dores take on the Wareham Gatemen next at 6 p.m. first pitch. We'll see you then. Well, that was Commodore shortstop Alex Mooney. He sat down with me for an interview the other day. And we're about set to go here at the Guv today as the Dores take on the Wareham Gatemen in just a few moments. So stay with us. Alex Mooney will be leading things off for the Dores in the bottom of the first. So stay tuned with me and Trey Redfield on the broadcast.
Performing the national anthem tonight is Orlando Montalvo. Orlando is a master vocal performance student at Louisiana State University and member of the College Light Opera Company. For over 50 years, the College Light Opera Company has provided hundreds of college-age students from around the country a unique educational opportunity to learn from leading professionals and practice their craft in a challenging but supportive environment. These students are members of the vocal company, orchestra, design and production team, music staff, and business staff. The result each summer is 9 fully produced musicals and operas performed at the Highfield Theater in Falmouth. Please rise and remove your caps for the performance of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we've watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And now for the words we love to hear, we welcome back Jim Holtzman.
Tonight is an opportunity to keep the good times rolling. The Falmouth Commodores, winners of 5 of their last 7 games, look to keep pace in the Western Division standings with their friends on the other side of the bridge, the Wareham Gatemen. Hello and welcome inside the press box here at Arnie Allen Diamond at Guv Fuller Field, along with Carter Bainbridge and our field reporter Logan Soforenko and our entire crew. I'm Trey Redfield. We thank you so much for joining us. Carter, let's talk about what happened last night. It was the Brewster Special, and it went in Falmouth's favor.
Yeah, for the second time in 3 matchups against the Brewster Whitecaps, the Dores scored 4 runs in the top of the first inning. That was what happened out at Stony Brook Field the second time these two teams played this season. So again, the Dores got the jump on the defending Cape League champions and came away with a win. The first game shortened by darkness this season. We only played 8 innings, but Falmouth has played hot ball lately. 5 of 7 games they've had victories in their last 12 games.
Yeah, the Commodores will take that any day of the week, but they're going up against a Gatemen team that has been red hot at the plate as well. We're going to get into their lineup in a second, but we're going to send it down onto the third base side for our third member of our team, Logan Soforenko. Logan, what do you got?
Thanks, Trey. The Falmouth Commodores were defeated by the Wareham Gatemen 6-4 in their last contest on June 28th. The Falmouth Commodores currently lead the season series over Wareham with 2 wins and 1 loss. But tonight's matchup is the biggest one of the season. With Wareham's loss to YD yesterday 4-2, that means the Falmouth Commodores enter today just trailing by a 1 point in the Western Division standings. So the winner of today's game will maintain sole possession of 4th place in the division heading into the off day at Fenway Park tomorrow. Guys, it's that time of the season where we're just going to have to be looking at the standings throughout the entirety of the season, 24/7 until those playoffs arrive. Guys, back to you.
Logan, you couldn't have said it any better. That's exactly what we were doing last night in Brewster. We're going to be doing that throughout the season, like you said. A beautiful day here at Guv Fuller Field, and we're excited to bring it to you. It's Josh Hartle on the mound for the Falmouth Commodores. He comes out of Wake Forest University, and Carter, he has not had a bad Cape League season so far.
Certainly not. Hartle has been great through his first 3 starts this summer, a 2.07 ERA in 13 innings. He's been strong on the mound.
He starts off against Chase Davis. His first pitch is a strike, as it is fouled back, actually. So first pitch at 6:01, clear skies and 72 degrees. Not too shabby of a night, partner. Where else would you rather be? So Davis comes out of Arizona. As the 1-0 comes in, it's a bouncer to the right side. Jacob Walsh has it. Tosses to Hartle. Great communication there to grab the first out in the game.
And the Dores retire a very, very hot hitter in Chase Davis, a guy who has been tearing it up since coming over from Arizona. 7 for his first 18 on the Cape, including a 4-hit game a couple days ago.
We know a little bit about this guy, don't we, Carter? Hogan Windish, left fielder out of UNC Greensboro, where he was the SoCon Player of the Year. First pitch is strike 1 at the knees. Windish last year spent it with the High Point Thomasville High Toms in the summer in the Coastal Plain League. That's the 0-1. Finds the outer half for strike 2. That was a league Carter and I were broadcasting in last year. You got to see it firsthand. I got to see all the stats. He was one category away from winning a CPL Triple Crown. 0-2 just misses outside. Cromwell was setting up in that spot. That's a spot you can afford, though, knowing you were ahead 0-2.
Yeah, Windish, a very complete hitter, a guy Hartle really has to concentrate on right now to make quality pitches.
Sitting 297 on the season. Goes after the 1-2. Mooney has it at shortstop, throwing it on the run, and Walsh couldn't corral it on the scoop. So Windish is aboard. It's called an E6. So another game for the Commodores with an error. Had a lot of those this season, partner. They're leading the league in that category.
And we've seen plenty of it. The Dores entering the day dead last in the league. Most errors made out of any team, 37. So make that number 38 on Alex Mooney.
So Windish stands on first base. The first pitch to Max Anderson is strike 1. Nice paint job there by Josh Hartle, getting the low and inner corner side of the plate. Anderson is the designated hitter tonight. Comes out of Nebraska. He's hitting .292 on the Cape League season with 11 RBIs. As he went after the 0-1. It was in the dirt. Good block by Cromwell. It's now 0-2.
And when we've seen Hartle at his best, he's a guy who gets a lot of ground balls. He's had 2 so far. Unfortunately for Alex Mooney, that's his 10th error of the summer. It's twice as many as any other Commodore has.
Anderson led the Cornhuskers in hits, home runs, and RBIs this season. The 0-2 comes in. He fouls it off himself. So we'll do it again. But Anderson had 67 hits, 10 home runs, and 45 RBIs. He started in all 53 games in 2022.
And his hot play is only carrying over now into the Cape. Anderson had a slow start, but he has been blazing hot this month, last 7 days, hitting .440 in 6 games. So he has really caught fire. And this top 3 in the Wareham order is as good as any you'll find in the league right now.
0-2 misses high and outside, 1-2 now. Anderson is your typical Nebraskan. He's from Omaha, and he went to school in Lincoln. That's where the University of Nebraska Lincoln is. Playing baseball in the Big Ten, one of the best conferences in the country. 1-2. Bouncer over to Mooney at shortstop. Tosses to second for 1. Over to first. Not in time.
So it's just a 6-4 fielder's choice. Anderson is aboard. Trades places with Hogan Windish, kind of. Windish going back to the third base dugout. So now there's 2 gone in the top of the first.
And nicely done by Mooney that time to retain his focus after that tough error in the second batter of the game. Just a little bit too slow around the bases to beat out Anderson at first base, who was chugging hard down the line.
So here comes Kellum Clark, hitting .271 this season, has himself 6 RBIs. Comes out of Mississippi State University, the 2021 national champions. But the College World Series titles is staying in the Magnolia State because Ole Miss won it this year, sweeping Oklahoma. It's Clark that is ahead 1-0. He's playing right field tonight. Hartle deals. Swing and a miss, count even. Hartle comes out of King, North Carolina, where he has 13 innings pitched this season, giving up 13 hits, only 3 earned runs with an ERA of 2.07, 9 strikeouts. But the big thing here with Hartle, 0 walks. He really finds a way to control his game. Line shot over to Mooney, who jumps in, makes the grab to close out the top of the first. It's Mooney that's leading things off in the bottom half, like you mentioned, Carter, before we got on the air. No score here at the Guv.
And can you draw your college logo? Nice.
There we go.
I can
That's
see
actually
it.
good. That's
I can
actually
see
really
it.
good.
Oh my goodness, so bad. That's good.
That's pretty good.
That is good.
I don't know how the flames go. But I can try to give you a frog. Looks more like a pig than a frog. That's no frog. That's bad. That's more like a. That's bad. I know it's got like a weird. This. Wow. Okay. Yeah. No. I can't draw the basic one. You know. Okay. Do not judge me, please. Very stress. Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
We gotta erase puddles right there.
There's puddles.
That looks like a turkey.
That's actually really good. That's really good.
Nothing doing yet in the runs categories. We head into the bottom of the first inning. Let's take a look at the Wareham defense. And Carter, this is a Gatemen team that gives up the least amount of errors. The Commodores, it's the most, but the Gatemen hanging out the top with just 17 errors on the season.
Yeah, Wareham and Falmouth only separated by 1 point in the Western Division towards the bottom, but the defense hasn't been the problem for the Gatemen this year. Hogan Windish, Chase Davis, and Kellum Clark in the outfield. Around the horn on the infield, Derek Fabian, Blake Wright, Jack Hausinger, and Carter Graham. And Ryan Campos behind the plate catching Michael Sansone. So it's a lot of the usual suspects for manager Harvey Shapiro. He doesn't make a lot of defensive changes. This lineup awfully similar to the one we've seen during all the games that the Dores have played the Gatemen this season, but Sansone a new face on the mound.
Michael Sansone comes out of Fairfield. He's the only Fairfield stag, that was a Cape League All-Star. He's one of those born Braves that came over to Wareham along with Harvey Shapiro, the Gatemen manager. First man that he's going to face, Sansone, is Alex Mooney. Shortstop out of Duke, who has hit leadoff for most of, if not the entire season. First pitch from Sansone. Fastball and a pop-up behind us and out of play, so 0-1 on Alex. Who's had a pretty good season so far on Cape Cod. He's hitting .277 with 2 home runs and 7 RBIs. Both of those home runs came right here at the Guv. A 1 misses outside, count even. Following Mooney in the lineup is Josiah Cromwick. First time he's hitting in the 2 spot today, the catcher out of Oregon. After that, Sansone will see Peyton Stovall, followed by Jacob Walsh and Andrew Pinkney. Drew Brutcher hitting 6th, Jackson Nicholas hitting 7th, Luke Boyers hitting 8th, and Travis Chestnut rounding out the order as Mooney swings at an inside pitch, goes foul into the trees on the left side. It's now 1-2. Mooney hit .292 at Duke this season. He got better as the season went along. So something to look out for next year, as Mooney will have his final year of college, where that's expecting him going into the MLB draft next year. The 1-2. Mooney thought about it, but does the right thing and holds off. It's now 2-2. But yeah, getting better as the season goes along, meaning you're hitting better against teams in the ACC, one of the best conferences in baseball.
And he's doing the same thing this summer as well. He's really taking a long time here with these pitches.
Yes, he is. 2-2, cut on and miss for strike 3. So one out, one strikeout for Sansone, who's up to 25 now in the season. He's given up 10 earned runs this season, but he has only walked one batter. We're not going to be seeing a lot of walks today, if I'm guessing this right, knowing Hartle has nothing on the other side.
That's definitely an interesting duel with these teams today. Wareham, a team that does walk a fair bit, 4th in the league in that category, but like you said, Hartle has yet to walk a man in 13 innings entering the night. Sansone with 1 walk and 18 2/3, so over 31 innings for these guys, only 1 walk between them.
Josiah Cromwick at the plate, hitting .208 this season. Looks at strike 1 right down the middle. Cromwick was a late addition to this team. He's an Oregon Duck, just like Jacob Walsh, and he also resides in Las Vegas, just like Jacob Walsh, the first baseman out of Oregon. Cromwick platooning with Jacob Cozart, the other catcher on the roster for the Dores, as he looks at the 0-1 outside. I was excited to see potentially the North Carolina battery with Josh Hartle and Jacob Cozart, but it's Cromwick getting the start. You know what? You'll take that any day of the week. Cromwick, a great defensive catcher, can swing the bat really well. Did so this season with Oregon, flirting with 300. As the 1-1 comes in, he sends it out to right center field. Moving to his right is Clark, and he makes a grab for the second out.
If you squinted hard enough with the second batter of the game, you could have convinced yourself that was a righty Colby Halter in there, couldn't you? Guy hits second practically every day, just in the other box, and that was a Colby Halter-like swing.
Yeah, I said it was going to be Colby Halter hitting second. That was a prediction. Boy, did I botch on that one. But this has become a certain as well. Peyton Stovall hitting third in the lineup for the Commodores. Rising sophomore out of Arkansas, who had a great College World Series. As he swings and tips the first pitch off the mask of Ryan Campos. It's 0-1. But one of those games in the CWS, he went 5 for 6 against Auburn. So nothing like going 5 for 6 in a game, but also doing it against one of your SEC rivals.
It was just par for the course for Stovall, who had a great Omaha. Hit .360 in those 5 games he had out there.
That'll play.
That will.
We'll say you're right. Sansone taking a little bit longer than usual. Goes with a nasty slider there to make it 0-2 on Stovall.
I'm a little bit surprised so far that none of the Dores have called time. He's making him wait a long time. He's got a little shimmy with his legs that he's doing back and forth. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Mark Melanson.
He's mixing the glove a little bit too. Stovall waiting. 0-2 pitch. Pops it up on the left side. Going back is right. And now coming in is Windish, who makes the grab to close out the first inning. So the Dores go down in order 1, 2, 3. Campos, Graham, and Wright due up for the Gatemen when we come back in the top of the second.
House of Falmouth Commodore, be sure to sign up to become a host family today. Hosting a Cape League player can be very rewarding. Players connect and bond with the families, often forming lifelong relationships. Please remember that every Commodores player is bound and governed by NCAA rules and regulations. In order to maintain their collegiate athletic ability, host families receive a weekly allowance from the Falmouth Commodores to help cover player expenses. Host families are not required to provide transportation to players. The Falmouth Commodores are very grateful to the wonderful families that host our players each and every year. If you are interested in hosting a Falmouth Commodores player for the summer, contact our housing coordinator, Lisa Smuda, at lisatz143@comcast.net. For more information, visit our website at falmouthcommodores.com. Thank you for supporting our players, and roll Dores.
Let's go into the top of the second inning. No score between the Gatemen and Commodores with Carter Bainbridge and our field reporter Logan Soforenko. I'm Trey Redfield. So glad you're with us tonight. This game is so important. I know it's a little odd. You know, we're not near the end of the season just yet. It's July 10th, but a Falmouth win today can propel itself to playoff position. Right now the Commodores sitting at 5th place, the Gatemen in 4th. Wareham and Falmouth just apart by 1 point. If the Commodores win, they will jump the Gatemen in the standings. As ball 1 is delivered to Ryan Campos, the Arizona State Sun Devil. One of the couple of guys on this Gatemen team from the Pac-12. Another one, Chase Davis, an Arizona Wildcat, who hit leadoff today for Wareham. 1-0 from Hartle. Too low, ball 2.
And the Western Division isn't as top-heavy as it once was this season. The Catuit Cavaliers still in first, but they've been playing losing baseball since that 8-0 start. Hyannis has crept up on them, and then Bourne, Wareham, and Falmouth are all barely separated.
2-0 popped up on the left side. Coming in is Boyers, and he makes the grab after a late adjustment for the first out. Now brings up Carter Graham, another Pac-12 player. He's a first baseman out of Stanford. He's hitting .115 this season. Just 1 RBI on the year. Did he go around? He did. 0-1.
Graham, a fairly recent addition to this roster. Still trying to get his feet under him here on the Cape.
Had a breakout season this year, hitting .331 with 13 doubles in Palo Alto. It's now 1-1 as he holds up on the high cheese. Chokes up on the bat a little bit as Hartle kicks and fires. Oh, that was filthy. Frisbee slider Hartle goes with there, and it's 1-2 on Graham.
And you're seeing firsthand why Hartle carried that 2.07 ERA into the day. He's dealing very well with the 3rd highest scoring lineup in the league so far.
1-2 comes in, and it's tapped to the left side, rolling down the third base line. Nicholas has it, throws it on the run, and it's Graham who beats it out. An infield single for Carter Graham, as Wareham will look to bring around the game's first run.
I was a little surprised that Nicholas even threw that ball at third base, but he made the play closer than it first appeared it would be. That was almost an impossible defensive play to make with that slow roller to third. Once it started hitting the grass and losing its velocity, you knew that Graham was on his way to first and was probably going to beat it. But, again, soft contact from Hartle. We haven't seen a Gateman really square the ball up off him so far, so that's your good news.
Blake Wright with an opportunity to bring him around. Clemson Tiger looks at strike 1, has 10 RBIs this season on Cape Cod, but had a great season, a sophomore year that is, in South Carolina, where he hit .349 compared to just .167 last year. 0-1. Inside, scooped up by Cromwick. Just picked it out of his glove, didn't even block it. It's now 1-1. Wright is at shortstop tonight.
And he's been a Commodore killer this summer. He's a guy who carries a 194 average in it today. But against the Dores, as this whole Gateman team has in 3 games, 321 as a team against the Dores so far this season. Wright is 5 for his first 11 against the Falmouth staff.
2-1 now, and that all started on that very cold and brisk night that we spent on the top of the third base dugout. It's a game that lasted 3 hours and 57 minutes. And what was a 12-9 Commodore victory, but the Gatemen put up 5 in the bottom of the 9th. Swing and a miss at strike 2. Cromwell keeps it in front of him as Graham goes back over to first base. Thought about taking advantage, but chooses not to. So count stays even. Count goes to even, I should say.
And what we didn't know at the time was that that was going to be how the Wareham Gatemen would play a lot of games this season. They just won a 12-10 slugfest against Hyannis a couple nights ago. This team can swing the bat pretty well, but they've struggled on the pitching end.
Swing and a miss for strike 3. Hartle has his first strikeout on the evening, and there is 2 gone with Carter Graham on first base in the top of the second. Let's take a quick peek into the Commodore defense, a team that's been struggling defensively, but nothing too crazy here. Some guys in usual spots except for at third base with Jackson Nicholas.
And Nicholas we've seen on the infield so far. He hasn't been on the team all that long. We saw him at second base.
Pickoff play over at first base, nothing doing, but you were saying?
Well, now he's over to third base, and the reason we see that spot vacated is because Colby Halter's got a day off. That's his usual spot. So Cromwell taking his place in the lineup, Nicholas taking his place defensively.
Here's Jack Hausinger. Swings at the first pitch, hits to the left side. Boyers is under it and makes the grab to close out the top of the second. 4, 5, 6 coming up for the Commodores. Walsh, Pinckney, and Brutcher trying to break into the scoreless stalemate when we come back.
Hey there, Commodore fans. Thanks for joining us and cheering on your Falmouth Commodores. Want to take a break from the action? Come make a visit to the merchandise booth. Check us out behind home plate. We have a bunch of new designs for you to purchase, from hats to shirts, jerseys, crew necks, wine glasses, and even baby bibs. You think of it, we probably have it. From youth sizes to even adult double XLs. We have everything you need for family and friends. Be sure to come say hello and get a piece of Falmouth merch. Make a trip before we close up shop in the 9th inning. See you soon, and roll Dores.
So the Commodores trying to look for something different in this bottom half of the second after going down 1, 2, 3 in the top half. They come up with Jacob Walsh and Andrew Pinckney along with Drew Brutcher in a scoreless stalemate in the bottom half. Michael Sansone on for his second inning of work. And I'll tell you what, Carter, I think it's that taking forever mindset on the mound that's been fooling with the Dores a little bit.
Well, you don't walk one batter in your first 18 2/3 innings if you're not deliberate. Sansone's been taking his time so far. He's been working at his pace, and he's just made the Dores deal with it through 1 inning. But again, Falmouth's going to have to crack this nut against a left-handed pitcher. They haven't done that a lot this season, hitting 168 against Southpaws as a team. And Jacob Walsh, the guy leading off this inning, has had his struggles in particular against Southpaws. 0 for 22 on the summer.
Yikes. Let's find out if Jacob Walsh can crack into that here. He had 295 at Oregon this season. Las Vegas native that is starting to really figure it out at the plate. He has 4 home runs this year with Falmouth. Starts off with a fastball, Sansone, and he finds strike 1 on the outer half.
Now, Walsh has quickly become a guy who you're eager to see at the plate. There was a period of time where you kind of dreaded him coming up at big spots, but he has been swinging the bat really well as of late. Average climbing up to 200 after a brutal start.
Very similar spot, and that's enough for strike 2. Walsh is always a joy to talk to. Every time I chat with him, he has a smile on his face. Sansone has his sign from Ryan Campos, his battery mate. Kicks and fires. And that one gets Walsh. 3 pitches in 3 very similar spots to grab the first out in the bottom of the second.
Well, Sansone hasn't been overwhelming with velocity so far, but he's hit his spots, and you expected him to do that coming into this game. He's given up his fair share of runs this season, 10 in his first 18 2/3, but this is a guy who's going to have his command. You can bet the house on that.
Went 4-1 last season with Bourne with a 3.77 ERA in 31 innings pitched. His first pitch to Andrew Pinckney. Fastball foul to the right side, out of play.
He made the all-star team with the Braves. He's one of the guys who came over with manager Harvey Shapiro, like you said. But at Fairfield, he's been strong too. 2019 Metro Atlantic all-rookie team, 2021 all-first team in that conference.
The Stags in the MAAC. I had an aunt that went to Fairfield. You know that? I don't think I've ever told you that. Probably not.
I don't think you have.
I haven't.
I don't think I could have whipped out that fun fact.
No.
If
I haven't told you.
Asked to do so.
Yeah. Pinckney's hitting .222 this season. Comes out of a much bigger school at Alabama. And a much bigger conference, too, in the SEC. Sansone with the 0-2. Foul back, we'll do it again. Pinckney is a guy who has really shown off his defensive ability. Has really found the way to light up the bat with just one word. Simplifying. He's made it look that easy. He had himself an RBI triple last night at Brewster. It was an 8-inning Commodore victory. Falmouth took it 7-3. The 0-2 is a ground ball up the middle. Diving play made by Wright. The throw over to first, not in time. Andrew Pinckney's speed helps him get aboard with an infield single, and Falmouth has its first hit tonight.
Well, the beat just goes on for Andrew Pinckney. This is a guy who entered the day hitting .348 in the month of July. He has just been outstanding since finding that stroke. A lot of strikeouts in the early going this summer, but he's not only found the contact swing, but he's been hitting for a lot of power, too. 3 home runs this month, and he's torn it up against lefties. So you like seeing him in this lineup today, and he's got himself a 1-for-1 start.
Let's find out if Drew Brutcher can bring him around. He's hitting .179 this season with a couple of home runs and 7 RBIs. He swings at the first pitch, and it gets through for a base hit. Pinckney rounding second. He'll hold up there, but he slips a little bit. Question is, would he have gotten burned if he had gone? Commodores will take that any day of the week, though. Now have runners on first and second with just 1 out, and Jackson Nicholas coming up to the plate. He had a great night last night.
And Nicholas finally getting up to the plate. Recent addition to this Commodore roster. 1 for 4 on the season so far at the plate. But the 2 guys on base, you expected Pinckney to be there against the left-hander. He's now 7 for 15 against lefties this season, but Brutcher has had his problems. So you like seeing a confident swing, pulling a ball through the hole on the right side. And the Dores are in business here, but they've got another lefty bat up at the plate.
Nicholas 1 for 4 on the season. Got added just a couple of days ago. Sansone's first offering. Nicholas shows bunt and pops right back off the screen. Would have gone right over our heads. It's 0-1. Nicholas comes out of Oklahoma, and it's really funny. You know, Oklahoma got swept by Ole Miss. It was a long season. You know, you go all that way to lose in Omaha. And I asked him, you had such a great year and a long season, too. That was pretty tiring. Why'd you come play again? He's told me, I just want to play some ball, man. Sometimes it's just that simple. Sansone comes set with 2 on and 1 gone. The pitch. In the dirt, low and away, count even at 1.
And I love that you say that, because when you look around these rosters, you know that every single guy on these teams has a reason to be here. Nobody's on the Cape because they don't want to be, not because they have to be. Instead, guys are up here to get extra reps. They want to raise draft stock. They want to try to play their way into a spot next spring. There's always something, some motivating factor. For Nicholas, it's pretty simple, like you said.
1-1 in the dirt, and this one gets away from Campos. Pinckney goes over to third base. We've seen him turn the corner and score on a pitch like that, but he doesn't do it here. Going to second is Brutcher, and 1 hit can make this a 2-0 ball game, Carter.
Well, that a wild pitch from Sansone. We've talked so much about his control, but just a misfire there to Campos behind the plate, and now Nicholas can bring in the first run of this game just if he puts it on the ground. It looks like the Wareham defense is going to concede a run if he does that, unless he just smashes one to the corner at third base.
Derek Fabian comes into the grass at third base. The rest of the infield is stout straight up. A little bit of a hole out there in right center field, too, as Sansone kicks and fires. Swinging a tip into the glove of Campos, and it's now 2-2. Nicholas had a great College World Series in just his freshman year had himself a home run and 6 RBIs. In the regular season with the Sooners, he had 10 home runs and 30 runs batted in, hitting .289. That'll play.
He's been a good hitter at a great program, so excited to see what he can do this summer with the Dores.
Nicholas checks his swing, and that's officially confirmed. Pitch went low and away. Nicholas didn't really move the bat that much. Took a little bit to finally get a verdict, but we now have it, and it leads to a full count on the Oklahoma Sooner.
He may not even be able to tell you how he laid off that pitch because that was nasty from Sansone, who's been living in the 70s and 80s today. Nothing overpowering, but he's been working down in the zone. He's had good command. And now Nicholas is going to have to be selective here with a full count.
Sansone's been loving that spiked slider. Let's find out if he goes with it here. Payoff pitch. Goes with it again. It's sent out to center field. Coming in is Davis to make the grab. Pinckney tags up. The throw to the plate, not in time. A sacrifice fly for Jackson Nicholas puts Falmouth in front first in the bottom of the second. As Brutcher stays over there at second base, Luke Boyers looks to continue the party.
And that's situational hitting for the Dores. They had their fair share of problems with guys in scoring position, guys at third base with fewer than 2 outs, but they've been swinging the bat great. Seemed like once the calendar turned over to July, they just found their stroke at the plate as a team collectively, and Nicholas had a run driven in last night. Now he has another today.
Switch hitting Luke Boyers at the plate. Got himself his first extra base hit of 2022. He's looking to get another one here. Maybe trade places with Drew Brutcher. Why not? First pitch is a pop-up. This will stay in the infield. Derek Fabian calls everyone off and makes the grab to close out the bottom of the second, but not before Jackson Nicholas gets it done with a sacrifice fly to send in Andrew Pinckney. 1-0 your score as we head into the top of the third here at the Guv.
Hey Commodores fans, sharpen your baseball skills with some of America's finest players from the best college programs in the country. Clinic attendees will have opportunities to work on hitting, base running, infield and outfield play, as well as pitching and catching. Attendees will also participate in Commodores Chat, where coaches and players discuss topics like sportsmanship, academics, teamwork, and other issues important to being an all-around player. Clinics are offered Tuesday, June 21st through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. 3 separate clinics will be offered for ages 5 to 14.
We welcome you back to Guv Fuller Field for the top of the third inning. And just a reminder, friends, as a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, the Mass State Lottery is celebrating the games we love playing. From the baseball diamond to the many lottery games that help support all 351 cities and towns across the Commonwealth. So, here's to 50 years of winning and 50 more. Josh Hartle's trying to get a win tonight for his Commodores, getting some run support in the bottom half of the second inning, thanks to a sacrifice fly from Jackson Nicholas that brought in Andrew Pinckney. So Hartle on for his third inning of work, and it starts against Derek Fabian. Third baseman out of Florida. We thought we were going to have 2 Gators playing third base today, but Colby Halter getting the night off as Fabian looks at strike one on the outer half. I think Halter's earned it, though, that day off.
It seems like he never takes one off. He's always in this lineup, always hitting second.
Fabian swings and misses at strike two. That was a nasty slider from Hartle. We've been talking about what pitches have been working for guys recently throughout the past couple of days. Tonight, it's the sliders from both Sansone and Hartle right now. Three strikes, 3 pitches, 1 gone. Top 3. Easy as that.
Yeah, that looked like a changeup out of the hand of Hartle that time. We know he's got a pretty advanced mix that's made him a highly rated prospect in the 2024 Major League Draft. So far this summer, he's been nails because of pitches like that. Nasty backup slider for strike 2 on Fabian, and then a changeup that just faded away. And it was as easy as that.
Hartle up to 2 strikeouts on the evening, and he's now 2 strikes away from his third. Brings up Chase Davis, so we're back at the top of the order with the Gatemen. Davis is 0 for 1 today with a ground out to first base that was unassisted. Came into today hitting 7 for 18, obviously with the 1 at-bat, now 7 for 19, and he's already down 0-2.
Hartle's working the corners, he's working down, and his pitches tonight have some good life. He's getting some really ugly swings from a very good hitting team, especially this top of the order.
And he's working pretty quickly, too. So it comes in, and it just misses the outside corner.
And Hartle's gotten a couple strike calls so far on that outside corner. He's testing the waters out there because Brandon Johnson, the home plate umpire, has been giving him a couple inches off that corner. So if he can live out there and he can get some strike calls on some unsuspecting hitters, it's going to be a long night for these Gatemen.
1-2 pitch. Misses low. Did he go around? He did not. 2-2 now on Davis. So it's Brandon Johnson behind the plate. Mark Furtado at first base and J.C. Fernandez over there at third.
And we're hoping that they're not going to be involved in this game as much as the umpiring crew was when these Dores played Hyannis a couple nights ago.
2-2 pitch, hit to the left side, fouling out of play. These boys just trying to duke it out with one another. Sitting at 4th and 5th in the standings, the Gatemen and Commodores respectively, separated by just 1 point. Falmouth wins today. It's back in playoff position. The 2-2. Nubbed foul yet again. Suited 2-2. Why not? Yet again.
And you can scoff at that premise that it's a 4th place team against a 5th place team playing for who's going to be dead last, but these teams in the West are not that bad. Wareham is only 2 under, Falmouth is 3 under, and neither one of them has played under 500 ball in their last 10.
2-2's hit out to left center field. Pinckney coming in and makes the grab. He makes it look so easy out there. Grabs the second out in the top of the third. I got to say, I have never enjoyed watching someone more in my own eyes playing the outfield than that man right there.
What did we say yesterday out at Brewster on Twitter? 71% of the earth is covered by water and the rest is covered by Andrew Pinckney. He made a really good catch yesterday to end an inning at Brewster going away towards the wall. Of course, that play just made it much simpler, but he plays a smooth center field.
Windish going after the first pitch. Nicholas fires, and that one is airmailed. Goes right into the glove of one of the guys hanging out on the other side of the dugout. Not sure who was the one that made that snag, but he made it look so smooth. So Windish gets aboard the second base via the throwing error. Nicholas sent that all the way up to the attic.
Yeah, playing a position that he may not necessarily be used to, trying to put a strong throw on it to end the inning and just gave it a little bit too much mustard. Usually a guy who plays middle infield. Of course, as we've mentioned, the defense a little bit different for the Dores tonight. Time for Hartle to buckle down.
Max Anderson looks at ball 1 in the dirt. He got aboard via fielder's choice. That came in the top of the first inning. He's the guy in the 3 spot tonight. We've seen him a lot in that spot. Every time the Gatemen have played the Commodores, it's Max Anderson who has been hitting third. The Gatemen have yet to see this guy, though, on the mound. Josh Hartle trying to get out of a jam. Another bouncer to the left side. Nicholas. This one low, and Walsh handles it. So Hartle gets out of the jam, and the score remains 1-0. Chestnut, Mooney, and Cromwick due up when we come back for the bottom of the third.
What's your hottest take?
Hottest take? Hottest take is that a straw has 2 holes, not 1.
What is your favorite place in Falmouth?
My favorite place in Falmouth right now, I would say, is Shoreway Acres Inn. A bunch of us, the interns, are staying there, and we're having such a great time getting to know each other.
Can you give me your best British accent?
Scott Sterling.
Is cereal a soup?
No, it's cereal. It's its own thing, right? What soup have you had with milk in it?
We welcome you back to Guv Fuller Field. And just a reminder, friends, be sure to follow us on social media. Find us on our YouTube, like and subscribe us right here on our YouTube stream going on right now, youtube.com/Falmouth Commodores. That's where you'll find our YouTube channel. We're also all over the place, in case you didn't know. We're on Instagram and Twitter, both at Fal Commodores. We have a TikTok as well. Yeah, we're bougie. at Falmouth Commodores, and we're also on Facebook. So be sure to follow us on social media. If you have it, we are probably there. It's the Dores in front of the Gatemen by a score of 1-0 in this bottom half of the third inning. Falmouth coming up to the plate after grabbing one in the second, thanks to a sacrifice fly from Jackson Nicholas. Got to do it against Michael Sansone, Carter, who hasn't given up that many runs this season and has really controlled his own game on the mound. His strikeout count is up to 26 on the year.
He's been solid for the Gatemen. I mean, we said in the pregame show that ERA, 4.82 entering the evening, was misleading. He had a really tough second start of the year, but his last two starts, 5 innings, 6 innings, 3 runs and 2 runs. So a quality start and then another good 5-inning outing. So he's been better lately than he was at the start of the year.
So here's Travis Chestnut, one of the new guys on the block. His Commodore debut against Orleans this past Friday. It was a 6-2 win against the Firebirds. Got himself a run scored, even though he tripped on the third base line. Starts off his first at-bat here against the Gatemen, down 0-1, but he was flying around the base pass. He was flying so fast that he lost control, ate some dirt, and still came in the score. So yes, he's a fast guy. He stole 35 bases last year with Temple Community College. Like you saw on your screen, he's making the move to Texas A&M next season. He shows bunt, and he lays it down on the right side. It's a foot race to the bag, and Chestnut wins it. There was no one over there at first base, so Sansone was trying to win a foot race that he had no chance of winning over there.
Well, it's quite a play. You don't see it all that often. Riku Nishida over in Hyannis has made some plays like that, but that's the first time we've seen a Dore lay down a bunt for a base hit and succeed. Pushed beautifully to the right side. Took Sansone off the mound, who couldn't cover in time. And like you said, Chestnut with that speed, he showed it right there, but this time didn't try to run too fast and prevent his legs from carrying him to the bag.
Chestnut, a base stealer. Alex Mooney, a hitter. Pickoff move over to first, nothing doing. But Mooney is 0 for 1 today with a swinging strikeout. He's still a guy that has had a great season. Like I said, he's been hitting leadoff throughout the year. I think it was all but one game, other than the season opener, that Mooney has been at leadoff. Trying to bring that guy around on first base, Travis Chestnut. First offering, bouncer on the left side over at third base. Fabian throwing the second, and Chestnut is safe. Hausinger couldn't corral it over there at second. Do we have an official ruling on that?
It's going to be a base hit.
Really?
They say he was going to be safe anyway, sliding headfirst into the bag with that good speed.
So for the second straight bottom half, the Commodores move from station to station. Going over the second is Chestnut. Mooney aboard with an infield single. There have been 4 hits today by the Commodores, Carter. 3 of them have been in the infield.
Well, when you've won 5 of 7 and you're swinging the bat well, that's just what happens. Pinckney with that infield single came around to score. And for Alex Mooney, that's the way things have been going for him in the month of July. This team's hottest hitter.
Sansone fakes a pickoff move over to second base. I'd be worried about him if I were Sansone. I mentioned the stolen bases, 35 of them with the Temple College Leopards. Josiah Cromwick, the guy at the plate, is trying to bring him around.
Chestnut hasn't really had a chance to run with the Dores so far, but he may here.
He's got a healthy lead over there at second. Cromwick lays down a bunt. Sansone looks over at third, only has one play, and makes it over at first base. So both runners advance. Chestnut going over to third, Mooney at second. And there is one gone in the bottom of the third. You got to give props to Cromwick. He's second in the order for a reason. That's what guys who are second in the order are supposed to do. Lay down bunts to make sure their team stays successful. And the Oregon Duck did just that.
Yeah, this may be the most small ball-y type inning we've seen manager Jeff Trundy play for Falmouth this season, but Cromwick, a guy who entered the evening hitting just .208. He's had limited success. Get him to contribute. Make him feel like he's providing value to this offense, and he really did here. Sack bunt, push guys into scoring position for Peyton Stovall, one of your hotter hitters.
He's 0 for 1 today. Flew out to left field as he grounds one over to second base. Fumbling with it is Hausinger. Throws it over to first. He still gets Stovall, but coming in to score is Chestnut. And the Commodores now have a 2-0 lead with Mooney going over to third with 2 gone in the bottom of the third inning.
Well, the Wareham Gatemen have given up their fair share of runs so far this season, but you have to figure they haven't had a lot of innings like this where their league-leading defense has been challenged a couple times and they haven't come up with plays that they had to make. So Blake Wright, or Jack Hausinger, excuse me, at second base, nearly cost himself there with an error, did recover.
Walsh went down on 3 pitches in his first at-bat. He didn't even swing the bat. He does there, but he misses at strike 1.
And the chestnut bunt as well. I mean, that wasn't the defense's fault. It was beautifully done. But Wareham's a team that's just been bludgeoned with the bats this year. They haven't fallen victim to small ball.
Oh, 1 misses low, count even at 1. Walsh, one of the 2 Oregon Ducks on this team, the other Josiah Cromwick, who just laid down that sacrifice bunt that allowed Travis Chestnut to score. A batter later with Peyton Stovall thanks to that RBI ground out just a few moments ago. The 1-0. Fastball that finds the inner half for strike 2. That's the spot Sansone killed Walsh with in that last at-bat.
Well, if you're Sansone, you got to get out of this inning right now. You do not want to bring Andrew Pinckney to the plate with possibly 2 men on, or Walsh at first with Mooney already in.
1-2. Fastball tipped into the glove of Campos, and that is how the 3rd inning ends. Walsh goes down with a strikeout for the 2nd time today, but not before Falmouth adds 1 more. Let's go to the top of the 4th. Dores up 2-0.
What's your favorite song?
My favorite song. Proud to be an American. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
And what's your favorite breakfast food?
Oh, my favorite on the West Coast. I don't know if it's a thing back east, but Spam.
Wheels or doors?
I think wheels, honestly, because you use wheels like more than I feel like you would use doors, because if you're moving things around, more than likely it's on a wheel.
Now it's at the top of the 4th inning here at Guv Fuller Field, where the Commodores lead the Gatemen by a score of 2-0. Carter, Josh Hartle has been doing his thing on the mound, but his defense has got to help him out a little bit. 2 errors already doesn't really cut it.
Well, the Dores have won 5 of 7 games lately because they haven't let mistakes like that get to them, or at least cost them runs. And so far, the Dores have been lucky with sloppy defense. Errors in the 1st and 3rd innings on their infield. Alex Mooney and Jackson Nicholas, both with errors on that left side on tough plays. But errant throws to first that could have been made. The Gatemen haven't hurt them yet, but this is a good hitting team that you don't want to give extra outs to.
Here's the first pitch to Kellum Clark. Swing and a miss for strike 1. Hartle going with that slider that's been working for him so far. So Clark is 0 for 1 today. He lined out to Alex Mooney over at shortstop to close out the top of the 1st inning. Hartle kicks and fires. Bouncer on the right side. Walsh can't get it, and that's a leadoff single for Kellum Clark. Mississippi State Bulldog getting aboard for the first time today and grabs Wareham's 2nd hit on the evening.
If we had the benefit of replay, I'm curious to know just how close Jacob Walsh actually got to that ball. It looked like a play that maybe half the time he could have made with an extra step or an extra inch of his glove outstretched, but it goes in the books as a single, so another base runner for Hartle to try and work around.
Walsh is a great defensive glove over there, but can't win them all, right? Now it's Ryan Campos. Looks at ball 1. Not really sure where that missed, but it's ball 1 either way. Campos 0 for 1, just like Clark was before his at-bat. The catcher flew out to left field to start off the 2nd. 1-0 misses outside, now 2-0. Not a bad night here at Guv Fuller Field. Just a couple of clouds over there on the left side of your screen. It's been mostly a clear day. It's a pickoff move over to first. Nothing doing with Clark over there, but I was talking to one of the game day interns, Ben Sylvia. He came into my room this morning. He's told me it's just a beautiful day. I'm like, you know what, Ben? It is. It is a beautiful day. We have a lot of them here in Falmouth as the 2-0 misses low for ball 3. So Clark leads off first. Campos is the tying run. Josh Hartle is looking for a potential double play ball from his infield. We've seen the Commodores turn a lot of those this season. Let's find out if we get one here as the 3-0 is right down Broadway for strike 1.
Well, who's going to win the walk sweepstakes for Josh Hartle? It's going to happen sooner or later.
I think there's a higher chance of you winning the lottery than Josh Hartle walking somebody as Campos comes through on a 3-1. Puts it through to left side. Clark goes over to second base. Campos is aboard for a single, just like Clark. So now it brings up Carter Graham, who, just like Campos and Clark, has himself a single.
Now, this Wareham lineup has given the Dores grief each and every time they've played, just on swings like that. A little inside out from Campos the other way that a lot of times would have been an out, but just found a hole. Now Hartle, a ground ball guy, has got to hope for a double play here off the bat of Graham, who has struggled mightily this summer.
Ground ball, another one on the left side. It gets over the head of Mooney. Boyers keeps it in front of him at least, enough to keep Clark over there at third base. And now Falmouth is in some trouble. The bases are loaded with nobody out in this top half of the 4th inning, and Falmouth is only up 2.
I genuinely think that most times if a ground ball is hit that way, that Mooney can get to that and make that play. It hit a little piece of dirt and took a high hop over Mooney's head. He had no chance to get that ball. Maybe he could have splayed out for it and dove, but he couldn't leap at the same time. He had to make up his mind and no way to get to that ball. So a couple ground balls here. Hartle's getting what he wants. This is a ground ball pitcher living up to his reputation, but they're just finding holes right now.
This is not good timing for the Commodores either. Blake Wright comes up to the plate. He may be 0 for 1 tonight, Carter, but he is a guy that we consider a Commodore killer. First pitch to the right is a bouncer on the left side. Foul. So it's 0-1 on the Clemson Tiger. It's a guy who had a breakout season down in South Carolina. In his sophomore year, he hit .349. His freshman year, he hit .167. He's also another guy in the Coastal Plain League, a league that we know a little bit about. He played for the Forest City Owls. Now he's making the move up to Cape Cod. 0-1. Bouncer. Hartle picks it up, flips it to home for 1, and gets the easy out. So everyone is still where they are, somewhat. Everyone just moves up a station. Blake Wright gets aboard via the fielder's choice, but the bases are still loaded, just this time with 1 out.
A good presence of mind by Hartle, fielding his position, coming to the plate on a high chopper. So Blake Wright, a guy who has hit very well against the Dores this season, .455 in 3 games entering the day, but Falmouth has gotten him both times he's been up, and now you've got the bottom of the order here. Hartle can get out of this jam with 1 good pitch and a ground ball to somebody.
This guy, Jack Hausinger, has been a Commodore killer a little bit as well as he looks at strike 1. He had last time the Gatemen were here, he had a couple of extra base hits hit into the right center field gap.
We talk about what Wright has done against the Dores. The only regular Gateman left who's a better hitter than that is Hausinger.
It's now 0-2 on the Xavier Musketeer. He'll be spending his 5th year with Xavier.
And against these Dores so far in 3 games, 4 for 9. 500 hitter coming into the day, 0 for 1 so far.
0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Man, this would be massive if Josh Hartle got this final out here with Derek Fabian coming up and leaving the bases loaded.
Well, as we've said, Hartle has gotten the ground balls today. It's what's gotten him into trouble in this inning, but he's making his pitches. The stuff is there. The location is there. He's not up in the zone. Just one more from getting out of this inning.
Fabian swings at the first pitch, and it gets through the gap between third and short. Coming in to score is Campos. The throw to the plate is not going to be in time. Graham touches home plate, and we have a 2-2 ball game in the top of the fourth. Derek Fabian coming through with a 2-run RBI single.
Well, you talk about the location and execution of a few pitches, and that one off for Hartle. A little bit too much of the plate. And Derek Fabian, the number 9 hitter, who's hitting 161 on the season, a guy you desperately wanted to get out before these top 3 in the order for Wareham. Instead, drives in 2, and you've got a brand new ball game here at the Guv.
And it now brings up the top of the order. Swing and a miss for strike 1 on Chase Davis, who is 0 for 2 today. So it's right on second. He didn't advance to third on the throw. And Derek Fabian's over on first with a couple more RBIs to his name. 2 on, 2 gone. Hartle deals. Outside, count even at 1.
Chase Davis, a guy who has been absolutely vicious with the bat dating back to this spring with Arizona, where he started 62 and hit 289. Had a 4-hit game, the only Wareham Gateman to do so this summer on the 8th in a win over Katuitt. So he's been red hot with the stick lately.
He tips to 1-1 off Cromwick, so it's now 1-2. He did really well at Arizona this season. He had 18 home runs, 54 RBIs. He's a Pac-12 honorable mention. Comes out of Elk Grove, California, a suburb of Sacramento.
Earlier in this game, Hartle threw a changeup to Derek Fabian to get him swinging, and that was the first out in the third. I'd love to see him go back to that pitch here, because you know Davis is trying to be conscious of that slider low and away.
The 1-2. He got him on strikes. That's how the top of the fourth ends, with Hartle grabbing his 3rd strikeout on the evening, but not before giving up 2 runs. We're knotted up at 2 as we head into the bottom of the fourth. Pinckney, Brutcher, and Nicholas due up when we come back.
What are you most looking forward to this season?
I'm just looking forward to, I mean, it's obvious, but just the games, you know, seeing some great baseball, some great talent, and working with all these interns and really just learning, you know?
I'm just excited to get to know everyone, do some fun social media stuff, make a lot of TikToks, and watch some baseball.
Welcome back to Guv Fuller Field, where the Falmouth Commodores and the Wareham Gatemen are tied at 2 apiece. Max Anderson, the Wareham Gatemen designated hitter, struggled in the early parts of the season, but he's starting to turn it around. In the first couple weeks of the season, he hit under 200, but coming into today, he has hit safely in 13 straight. He is one of 3 Big Ten Freshmen of the Year to play with the Wareham Gatemen. The other 2 were Major League Baseball players, Nick Swisher and Alex Dickerson. So if that trend continues in the right way, we should see some good stuff from Max Anderson. Guys, back to you.
Well, Max Anderson has been very hot with the bat as of late. Today so far, the Wareham DH 0 for 2, but you figure the Dores might not be able to hold this guy down for long. Over his last 6 games, hitting .440, and has that long hitting streak like Logan said. Carter Bainbridge along with Trey, Redfield, and Logan Soforenko, who just fed you that tidbit down on the field. Heading into the bottom of the fourth here at Guv Fuller Field between the Falmouth Commodores and Wareham Gatemen. We've got a brand new ball game after the Gatemen plated a pair in the 4th inning on a 2 RBI single from third baseman Derek Fabian. And now Andrew Pinckney with Drew Brutcher on deck and Jackson Nicholas in the hole will take their cracks against left-handed starter Michael Sansone on for his 4th inning of work. Fabian in on third base, his toes nearly touching the grass. First pitch stays high to Pinckney. So Fabian forced to deal with the Dores' hottest current hitter, and perhaps their hottest against left-handed pitching. Pinckney now 7 for 15 on the summer against Southpaws with 2 doubles and 2 home runs. 1 for 1 so far today with an infield single. Fastball caught the corner, and it's 1-1. Well, you saw the outside part of the plate in play with that looking strikeout to Chase Davis off the hand of Josh Hartle that ended the top of the fourth. So Sansone exploring that corner as well, as is his right as a control-centric lefty. Tapping that toe, taking his time to Pinckney. Now the delivery. Fouled back, and it's 1-2 on the Falmouth center fielder.
I will say, I could have eaten half of a peanut butter jelly sandwich from the time that Sansone gets his sign to him coming set. That's how long he takes.
These scouts down below are going to need a calendar, not a stopwatch for this windup. 1-2. Grounded to second base. Hausinger, 1 out.
Sansone's a guy who's been trying to jam a lot of batters too. He doesn't have too many strikeouts right now, only a pair on the afternoon. And he's using a couple of pitches like that slider that breaks really late to his advantage. You know, guys are getting jammed. You can hear it off the bat. It's not the sweet sound of barrel to ball that guys have been adjusting to throughout the season. Sansone has been going with the Hartle recipe. Jam guys, force groundouts.
Drew Brutcher now at the plate. First offering to him hits the inside corner. And Brutcher with a little shake of the head. Subtle disagreement, but it's 0-1.
Normally you see Sansone going with the outer half, this time mixing it up.
Oh, 1 delivery. Fouled to the pull side, down the line, past the Dores bullpen, and over by the bleacher seats. It's 0-2. Well, Sansone's windup is only going to mean another lengthy game for the Wareham Gatemen, who have played their fair share this season. Entering the day, Wareham the only team with 100 or more runs scored and 100 or more runs allowed. The only other team with 100 or more allowed is Harwich, a team in 4th in the East and way out of contention. Line to second base. Hausinger makes a diving catch, and that's out number 2. How about the Wareham second baseman laying out to his left and coming up with a big-time play for the second out here in the bottom of the 4th.
That's a bounce-back play, too. Hausinger fumbled with the ball that was thrown to, I believe it was it was thrown while Travis Chestnut was sliding into second base during the 3rd. Alex Mooney got aboard via the infield single. He bots that one. He fumbled with a ground ball. He threw it over in time in the first, and he does that and makes that play. Now he's back on cloud 9. Hausinger is a great glove over there. Great hitter, too. All-around really good guy at second base for the Wareham Gatemen, and proves it right there getting his jersey dirty.
Nicholas grounds it foul behind the plate, and it's 0-1. So Hausinger has killed the Dores with the bat this season, and now he's doing damage with the glove. So 2 outs here in the 4th, and here's Jackson Nicholas. Sacrifice fly to his credit today, run driven in, back in the 2nd. Waved at that pitch down and away, and that's been the key for Sansone today. That down and away breaker has had lefties out on their front feet all day long.
He's been going after it. He keeps going with that pitch because he knows how much it's been working for him. With pitchers, it's all about figuring out what's the kryptonite. That is right now.
0-2 ties Nicholas up. They appeal to 3rd, and the inning not over. The Wareham defense started making its way to the dugout, but Nicholas stays alive.
I gotta say, with these check swings and these appeals, they keep pointing over the 3rd base. It takes forever. Like, you saw 3 infielders come in, and they were almost halfway back to the dugout because that appeal took for ages, just like how Sansone is doing right now on the mound.
The 1-2 again. And Nicholas is gone to end the bottom of the 4th. Froze him with a fastball on the outer half, and Sansone is through 4 solid innings. We head on to the top of the 5th. Windish, Anderson, and Clark, 2, 3, and 4 in the Wareham order, due up when we return.
Clinic attendees will have opportunities to work on hitting, base running, infield and outfield play, as well as pitching and catching. Attendees will also participate in Commodores Chat, where coaches and players discuss topics like sportsmanship, academics, teamwork, and other issues important to being an all-around player. Clinics are offered Tuesday, June 21st through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. 3 separate clinics will be offered for ages 5 to 14.
We head on to the top of the 5th inning here at Guv Fuller Field between the Falmouth Commodores and the Wareham Gatemen as we take a look around the league. Chatham and YD locked up in a high-scoring affair out at Red Wilson Field in the top of the 6th. Katuitt and Bourne scoreless in the 4th at Doran Park. The Harwich Mariners leading the Brewster Whitecaps 3-1 in the bottom of the 5th, and things just underway in the Battle of the Birds. The Harbor Hawks and the Orleans Firebirds in the 2nd inning, and those Harbor Hawks just won't go away. They have been playing winning baseball, and they're up right now.
They had 8 wins last season.
8-28, and right now 12-8-5.
Yeah, I mean, they're 3 points away from taking the top spot in the Eastern Division. But the Commodores, with some work to do on their own end, trying to get into the playoff push, trying to do with the guy on the mound. A new kid on the block as well, just like Travis Chestnut.
Yeah, the day done for left-handed starter Josh Hartle, who went 4 innings, allowed 4 hits and 2 earned runs. The 2 errors on the board for Falmouth didn't come into play. For Hartle's final line in this game, again, no batters walked, and he struck out 4 Gatemen so far in this contest. Now he gives way to left-hander Will Johnston, a native of Keller, Texas, stayed relatively close to home. Went to Texas A&M this spring where he played in 23 games, 2 starts, a 3.25 ERA in 36 innings, 33 hits, 13 earned, 18 walks, 49 strikeouts. Johnston is a fastball, curveball pitcher primarily.
Yeah, and first time he was pitching for the Commodores this season came on Friday against the Orleans Firebirds. A great inning. Gave up 1 hit, struck out 2. Reliever will take that any day of the week. When you strike out a couple of guys and keep a goose egg on the scoreboard as well, that's exactly what Johnson did. Has to do it here, though, against the Gatemen, against a guy who can hit the ball out pretty well in Hogan Windish.
Hogan Windish has reached on errors twice today. He's been the batter both misplays for Falmouth as the first pitch tails low and in, and it's 1-0 on the Wareham left fielder. So Windish, Anderson, and Clark, 2, 3, and 4 for the Gatemen coming up here in the 5th. 1-0, tied Windish up, and a called strike at the plate by home plate umpire Brandon Johnston. So the Gatemen are into the Falmouth bullpen as the 1-1 from Johnston gets the outside corner. Good location and well executed. It's 1-2.
For the 2nd straight game, a starter has gone 4 innings pitched for the Commodores, which means Chestnut, the guy on your screen, will be the first guy eligible for a decision.
Up and away, and Windish didn't bite. It's 2-2. 92 on the gun from Johnston. Fastball 90 to 93. Curveball in the high 70s for this left-hander. Tall frame at 6'4", and trails that one inside to Windish. It's 3-2.
You don't want to get guys on in general, obviously, but it hurts when you bring the leadoff guy on base. You know, we saw that in the top of the 4th inning, and Wareham put up 2. Got to know with what happened last time around. You got to roll with it.
And he does put Windish on. A leadoff walk. First batter faced for Johnston. And the Wareham left fielder is on to start the 5th with Max Anderson on deck. The man of the day, who our field reporter Logan Soforenko just talked about. A guy who has been absolutely smoking hot with the bat. Got off to a tough start this season, but is on that 13-game hitting streak right now. And has had a dominant month of July. Johnston fires a strike, and it's 0-1.
It's direct specs for me. The clear Oakleys, whatever you want to call them. It's a look. It's a look.
Anderson DHing today. Waves and misses at the 0-1. Way behind that heater from Johnston, and it's 0-2. So Anderson, the usual third baseman for Wareham, but Derek Fabian manning that spot today for the Gatemen. With Windish over at first base, not a running threat. 0-2, pop foul, right side, and Anderson stays alive.
That's the one thing Windish can't do, I feel like.
He is a complete hitter.
Yeah.
And he seems to get better everywhere he goes. Like you said, came just one category short of the Triple Crown last summer in the CPL. Entering this evening, a .297 hitter, 8 doubles, 3 home runs, 15 driven in for the UNC Greensboro Spartan. He's at first base. 0-2 to Anderson is lifted to left. Boyers coming in, Mooney going out, and it's Boyers who makes the catch for out number 1 here in the top of the 5th.
Good play by Boyers. You know, he was pretty far back out there in left field, but luckily enough, Boyers has that speed. You know, he uses it to his advantage and makes the grab in a spot that he's been in a lot this season with Andrew Pinckney in center field. Don't be surprised if Boyers makes that move to center when Pinckney has to leave for the MLB draft. But a great play by Boyers either way. Doesn't have to deal with the sun that much over there in left field as it's starting to graze down behind the trees over to our left at Guv Fuller Field.
And Kellum Clark now at the plate with 1 away. Johnston's first pitch, a fastball on the corner for strike 1. So Windish has yet to stray from first base. 1 away here in the 5th. Johnston first arm out of the pen for Falmouth today. This is first frame of work. Tap foul back of the plate by Clark. And it's 0-2. So Anderson today, who just made the out, 0 for 3 so far. The Dores have held him in check through 3 trips to the plate as Cromwick talks things over with Johnston on the mound. But these Gatemen, they've got tough outs up and down this lineup. And for whatever reason, even the guys with worse numbers seem to hit against the Commodores. Gatemen first 3 games hit over 320 as a team against the Dores. We had that high-scoring first one out at Spillane Field, 12-9.
The one that never ended.
You had the Rally Rabbit game here as the second one. And then Wareham came back with a win at Spillane of their own. So Falmouth leading the series 2-1 right now. 0-2 pitch, got him! Clark goes to grab some pine. He's the second out here in the 5th inning. First strikeout for Johnston on the day. And Ryan Campos now coming to the plate with Windish at first and 2 down.
You have to control this part of the lineup. Last time these guys came up, Clark, Campos, and Graham. Clark just went down looking, obviously, but all of them got base hits, beginning the two-run score in the top of the 4th inning. One of them right there, Ryan Campos.
So here's Campos, 1 for 2 today with a single his last time up. The Windish at first. Johnston's curveball down in the dirt, 1-0. So Johnston, a current Texas A&M Aggie, future teammate. Of Travis Chestnut. 1-0 pitch, a little high, and it's 2-0. Well, that high strike hasn't been called today. We've seen on the outside corner, Josh Hartle got some calls. So has Sansone so far.
That was at the numbers on the jersey of Campos right there. That was at his number, if not just a little bit higher.
2-0. This one in for a strike, and it's 2-1. Well, Campos only does stand at 5'9".
I mean, yeah, but that's still like, that's enough. Look at it, he's right there. That's enough.
Unfortunately, we don't have K-Zone on the Falmouth Commodores YouTube channel.
Oh, my gosh, that'd be sick. That would be sick.
I'm sure that wouldn't cause any arguing in the slightest.
I mean, we are already bougie.
2-1, grounded to first base. Walsh taps it, and that's the inning. The Gatemen get a base runner, and they strand Windish over at first base. We head on to the bottom of the 5th. Boyers, Chestnut, and Mooney, 8, 9, and 1 for the Dores coming back around. We'll be right back.
What's your hottest take?
Hottest take? Hottest take is that a straw has 2 holes, not 1.
What is your favorite place in Falmouth?
My favorite place in Falmouth right now, I would say, is Shoreway Acres Inn. A bunch of us, the interns, are staying there, and like we're having such a great time getting to know each other.
Can you give me your best British accent?
Scott Sterling.
Is cereal a soup? No, it's cereal. It's its own thing, right? What soup have you had with milk in it?
Well, we're on to the latter half of today's game between the Falmouth Commodores and Wareham Gatemen, with the bottom of the fifth coming up. Luke Boyers, Travis Chestnut, and Alex Mooney, the 8-9-1 batters for the Dores, facing off against left-handed starter Michael Sansone, who's on for his fifth inning. Trey, what's been working for this left-hander today?
It's really been one pitch that he's been rolling with. It's his slider that has a little bit more of a vertical drop. It spikes really late. This is a guy in Michael Sansone that's really had the one pitch going for him, and it's been a spot normally where it's on the outer half. It tails away from left-handed hitters. Sometimes he goes with a fastball. Yeah, we saw Jacob Walsh get worked with a fastball in the outer half that was painting the outside corner. But mainly with this Fairfield stag on the mound and 2021 CCBL All-Star, Michael Sansone has been working with one pitch, and that has been the slider. Harvey Shapiro has really enjoyed having Sansone on his squad, whether that's in Bourne last year or in Wareham this year.
Well, Sansone's been spotting that fastball for strikes today, but when he's ahead in the count and he needs a big pitch, he's been throwing that slider, and it has been on today. Luke Boyers, the batter, hitting right-handed against the lefty Sansone to start things here in the fifth. Shows bunt and lays it down. Sansone off the mound, third base side, and there's out number one. First pitch attacking for Boyers, but not in the traditional sense.
No, I think he just left that bunt a little bit too much out for Sansone. Was it a tough play? Yes, but I don't think it was tough enough. If Boyers gets that ball down the line a little bit more, he has more of a chance to beat out an infield single, one where the Commodores have been aboard a lot with the infield single today. I mean, you go down the line, 3 of Falmouth's 4 hits have been in the infield.
So here's Travis Chestnut with the bases empty and one down. Cut and a miss on the first pitch, and there's strike one. But Chestnut, who reached on that bunt single, he pushed to the first base side about halfway between the mound and the bag. Beat out Sansone racing to first, so he's 1 for 1 today, and he's got this Wareham defense bent out of shape with Fabian over at third in on the grass. Shows bunt again, a high tapper in front of the plate. Foul ball as Campos came up with it, and Chestnut has to come back to the plate. Looked like he was going to be out by a step or two.
Even more. That was a great play by Ryan Campos behind the plate. It was just in the left-handed batter's box, excuse me. Normally you don't see right-handed hitters with a lot of speed, but Chestnut is one of those guys. You know, he had that bunt that you were mentioning that was in dead man territory that had Graham mixed up and had Sansone with only one play in a race that he wasn't going to win. Let's find out what Chestnut does here, though, with 2 strikes.
4 strikeouts today for Sansone as Chestnut fouls this one back, and it's 0-2. But how about the respect and regard shown by manager Jeff Trundy from the dugout today? We have seen a lot of left-handed heavy lineups in this season, but this not one of them today. Borfin on the bench, Cozart on the bench. We've seen small ball employed.
Colby Halter on the bench, too.
Couple different players have laid down bunts today. Dores trying to play for early runs, but couldn't hold a 2-0 lead. As Chestnut goes down looking with a shake of the head as he trots his way back to the Falmouth dugout. K number 5 for Sansone today, and there's 2 down here in the fifth.
With the pitches that Sansone is throwing, he's really letting Brandon Johnson, the home plate umpire, decide with what he's going with. And in the eyes of Johnson, those are the close enough strike 3 calls. And it's been working for Sansone.
And Ryan Campos behind the plate giving him a good look. Good framing. He's calling a good game. Mooney takes strike 1 on the outer half. And you see that pitch on the outside corner. Brandon Johnson, to both these pitchers, have said, hey, if you're executing, we're going to give you those calls, both corners. It's tough for these hitters to adjust to both, though. Line to left. Windish doesn't even have to move. That ends the 5th inning. Very quickly, the Dores go down 1-2-3. We head on to the top of the 6th. Graham, Wright, and Hausinger, 6, 7, and 8 for Wareham, coming up in just a moment.
Now, do your best cartwheel.
I'm not a gymnast. I think I'd pull something if I did a cartwheel.
Would you rather be able to fly or be invisible?
I'm going to go with fly, honestly. I think flying would be pretty cool. Be able to be up in the air around everybody, you know, fly with some birds. Be pretty cool stuff, Carson.
Okay, Anders, now do your best and favorite dance move.
And the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air.
We're on to the top of the 6th here at Guv Fuller Field between the Falmouth Commodores and Wareham Gatemen. And it's anyone's game right now. 2-2 is your score. The Dores got runs in the 2nd and 3rd before Wareham got a pair of their own in the 4th. The Dores trying to keep the Gatemen at bay, and it's Will Johnston, the left-hander, on for his 2nd inning of relief work. He came in the 5th after a 4-inning start by Josh Hartle concluded. Johnston had a leadoff walk to Hogan Windish and then retired the next 3 in order. He now deals with Carter Graham, Blake Wright, and Jack Hausinger, 6, 7, and 8 in the Wareham order. So the sun's starting to set here at the Guv. As you see, Johnston now working from the shadows on the mound. The hitters don't have any sun on them either. The only players remaining still in the sunlight. Third baseman a little bit, right field, some center if Pinckney plays deep. But the Dores battling the Gatemen today for the 4th place spot in the Western Division. And as we're on to the latter half of the season, that's what you have to be worried about. Falmouth coming at it today with 22 points, Wareham with 23. The victor today gets 2, so Falmouth could vault in front if it can come back here from the Wareham 2-2 tie. Graham watches a strike go by. First pitch of the inning for Johnston, and it's 0-1.
Just imagine if we tied today. I think that would happen. Oh man, we haven't talked at all about the potential of a tie. That would be the most frustrating thing on planet Earth right now.
Well, the 0-1 missed to Graham. Now the 1-1. Way inside, and it's 2-1. Well, just about every other team in the league has been tying roughly every other day. Dores haven't done it much this year at all. They had 1 against Katuitt, 1 against Brewster. But the fewest ties in the league, the Dores have them. 2-2 the count now. The Bourne in this division has 6. Hyannis has 5. Even Katuitt has 4.
And we were one of them.
Cavaliers are going to have to hang on to that first place spot. They are sliding. 2-2 pitch fouled back. The count stays even.
Yeah, Mike Roberts trying to do whatever he can to bring guys in. I think I saw a stat today or heard a stat from either you or Logan where the entire starting lineup that was there for opening night is gone.
2-2 popped up left side. Mooney calling forward at short. 1 out here in the top of the 6th. Now Graham retired. And here's Blake Wright coming to the plate. He's 0 for 2 today. Well, I could certainly believe that stat if you just think of the guys up and down that lineup. Ryan Ritter and Brooks Baldwin, Cam Collier.
That was epic.
Back then.
I was thinking of Ryan Ritter in my head, too, as the first guy to say. That would have been pretty cool, too.
First pitch to Wright is in for a strike on the inside corner, and it's 0-1.
And then the guys that they did have are out the door. Mitch Jebb, one of them, making a great impact with Hyannis.
0-1. Front of the plate, and it's 1-1.
That bounced off Johnson. And, you know, we've talked about a lot of close strike calls that have been called, you know, against Falmouth. You know, if Josiah Cromwick has has a pitch where he catches it on a borderline part of the zone, he may not get that. It's one of those unwritten rules where you don't protect the umpire, you're probably not going to get the call when it matters most. So Cromwick's got to do his job behind the plate, even with nobody on base.
Well, Johnson has yet to allow a hit in this game. He did walk Windish, but the stuff so far after coming out of the pen has been good. Oh, that breaking ball had some snap, and it's 1-2.
Johnson used that to his advantage in his one inning of work against Orleans on Friday. You know, it's like his go-to pitch. We're starting to see it in the early parts of his Commodore career.
2-2 now as that pitch stayed high and away, 2-2. Well, no book on Johnson when the Firebirds faced him. They didn't really know what to expect. That Orleans offense has been scuffling lately. Dores just the latest to hold them in check. 2-2 is fly to left field. Boyer's taking a look. Instead, it drifts over to center where Pinckney's underneath it. And there's 2 down here in the top of the 6th.
We talked about little bits of the parts in center field. Pinckney went into that sunlight a little bit to make that grab, but luckily enough for him that it was more of in the shadows. You know what? Well, Pinckney will take that any day of the week because he still has those sunglasses on the top of his hat. Would have had to make a late adjustment putting those on had he gone into right center field.
And we've yet to see someone really lose a ball in the lights this year. We haven't seen a weird carry him off the fence either, because remember, this isn't a rounded outfield. Jack Hausinger looks at strike 1 from Johnston, and it's 0-1. We haven't seen a couple things so far this season. We've been pretty lucky with weather as well. Knock on wood. 0-1, again in for a strike, and it's 0-2. Well, we've seen a lot of called strikes tonight, both sides, but it has been consistent. Johnston just the latest to experiment with the zone of home plate umpire Brandon Johnston. Tapped foul. Hausinger just barely got a piece, and it stays 0-2.
Hausinger is one of those guys where we talk a lot about with Colby Halter choking up on the bat extremely high as a 2-strike approach and crowding the plate a little bit more. And for Hausinger, it's been working to his advantage. He did it a lot at Xavier where he was hitting .311 starting in all 60 games for the Musketeers. But it's just it's an approach that's been working for Hausinger this season. We've seen a lot of extra base hits from him because of this approach.
Spoils another offering left side. Hausinger is your classic scrappy middle infielder type. 5'9", contact hitter. He hit .311 at Xavier this spring in 60 starts.
It's 16 home runs too, so he shows off the power as well. 16 in a college season is not too bad, Carter.
Definitely not. Power hitting numbers. Breaking ball stays high for Johnston, and it's 1-2. If you hit over 10 in a college season, you're regarded as a guy who has good pop. And that OPS for Hausinger at Xavier over 1,000 this spring.
That's not bad.
You look at him and you wonder how he's bouncing balls off the walls with that choked up swing. A lot of power in those wrists. 1-2. Laid off a slider on the outside corner. And it's 2-2.
With baseball, you know, you see a lot of guys like lifting weights and stuff like that. And sometimes their power doesn't change. A lot of it's hand strength. Jack Hausinger may have some really strong hands and wrists, and that's what gives him the advantage.
Lays off another offering down low and away, and a good at bat here for the Wareham second baseman. Number 8 hitter today with Derek Fabian on deck in the number 9 spot. But Johnston does not want to have to deal with the top of this Wareham order. They've been held in check mostly so far. 0 for 8 with a walk are the 1-2-3 hitters as Hausinger flies this one to left. Boyers went back and makes the catch on the run, and that's the top of the 6th inning. The Gatemen go down in order as we head on to the bottom of the 6th. Cromwick, Stovall, and Walsh, couple heavy hitters for the Dores coming up when we come back.
And can you draw your college logo? Nice.
There we go.
I
That's
can see
actually
it.
good. That's
I can
actually
see
really
it.
good.
That's good.
That's pretty good.
That is good.
I don't know how flames go.
But I can try to give you a frog. Looks more like a pig than a frog. That's no frog. That's
frog.
bad. That's more like a. That's bad.
I know it's got like a weird. This
Wow, okay, yeah, no. I can't draw the basic one, you know. Okay, do not judge me, please. Very stressed. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
We gotta erase puddles right there.
There's puddles.
Kind of looks like a turkey.
That's actually really good. That's really good.
Well, the sun is starting to set here at Guv Fuller Field as the Falmouth Commodores and Wareham Gatemen are locked up in a 2-2 tie. We're headed on to the bottom of the 6th inning with Josiah Cromwell, Peyton Stovall, and Jacob Walsh due up for the Dores, 2, 3, and 4 in their order. Michael Sansone, left-hander for Wareham, on for inning number 6. And Trey, if he gets through this frame, it'll tie for his longest outing of the summer. This start number 5 for the Cheshire, Connecticut native. Here's Cromwell. Swings at an off-speed pitch for strike 1.
And you mentioned Sansone going this far. He's used to this. Most of his starts have been to the point where he's eligible for a decision. 5 innings, 6 innings. Proving it right here in his 6th inning of work.
0-1 delivery. A little lower this time, and Cromwell laid off. It's 1-1. When 10 starts at Fairfield, Sansone pitched 61 1/3 innings, only walked 9. So that control pedigree we've been talking about has been present with the Stags as well. Sansone really taking his time on the mound tonight. 1-1 is tapped in front of the plate. Sansone covering. Underhand flip, and that's out number 1.
The Hartle special. I mean, he's legit, like, using Josh Hartle's medicine and taking advantage of it like it's his own. I mean, we can mention the strikeouts, but he hasn't had that many. What, 3, 4 on the evening? I mean, he's had 24 the entire season, but today it's been jamming these Commodore hitters throughout the lineup. I mean, we talked about the infield singles. They've been 3 of the 4 hits today for the Dores.
So here's Peyton Stovall with 1 away and the base is empty. Looks at ball 1 on the inside corner. It's 1-0. So Stovall, who entered this evening hitting .250, also with a home run to his credit, has been on base just about every game he's had for the Dores since coming over from Arkansas, but he has had his struggles against left-handed pitching, including an 0-for-2 start tonight. He's now 0-for-8 on the summer. 1-0 in for a strike, and it's 1-1. Stovall, a guy who's getting a lot of looks in that 2024 MLB draft. He's going to be a big name when that selection process comes around. 1-1, a little high, and it's 2-1.
And when you hear ready for the 2024 draft, you just got to keep it going. There's a lot of pressure on you after you have a great first season of your collegiate career, after choosing to go with the college route, playing for 3 years or until you're 21 years old. So Stovall's just got to keep the good times rolling. You know, here in summer ball, next year at Arkansas, and the year after that.
Fouled back, and it's 2-2. Well, Stovall, like you said, it's a challenge to keep it going when you get off to a great start, because then everybody starts to get a book on you. And when they find out that you have a hole in your swing somewhere, they're going to throw it there until you hit it.
And you said book. They read a couple of chapters about it.
So Stovall, a guy who hit .295 in his freshman spring this year with Arkansas, one of the top college programs in the NCAA, against premier competition, made it all the way to Omaha, the College World Series. Finally, a batter calls time. At least he tried to, but instead goes down swinging for out number 2. Well, Stovall wanted time, and Brandon Johnson wouldn't give it to him. He's now a strikeout victim of Sansone, another on the day, number 6 in the books.
You ready for this stat? That was the first time Peyton Stovall has struck out this season. And it came at a time when time, I think, should have been called. Was the call a little bit late? Yeah, sure, but Sansone was taking forever up there. That's so unfortunate that the strikeout came the way it did, because Stovall was nowhere near ready for that pitch because he had one hand up off his bat mid-windup.
Line to left center field. Davis racing in from center. Instead, it's Windish on the run, making the catch to end the bottom of the 6th inning. The Dores go down 1-2-3 again against Michael Sansone, who is in command tonight through 6. We head on to the top of the 7th inning with Fabian, Davis, and Windish. 9-1-2 for Wareham coming up. Trey Redfield will handle play-by-play duties the rest of the way when we return.
Want a house of Falmouth Commodore? Be sure to sign up to become a host family today. Hosting a Cape League player can be very rewarding. Players connect and bond with the families, often forming lifelong relationships. Please remember that every Commodores player is bound and governed by NCAA rules and regulations. In order to maintain their collegiate athletic ability, host families receive a weekly allowance from the Falmouth Commodores to help cover player expenses. Host families are not required to provide transportation to players. The Falmouth Commodores are very grateful to the wonderful families that host our players each and every year. If you are interested in hosting a Falmouth Commodores player for the summer, contact our housing coordinator, Lisa Smuda, at lisatz143@comcast.net. For more information, visit our website at falmouthcommodores.com. Thank you for supporting our players, and roll Dores.
So not a bad evening for Will Johnson, going 2 innings pitch, giving up no hits or runs, walking 1 and striking out 1. And he paves way to Garrett Coe, left-handed pitcher out of UConn. Also comes from the Gunnery. That's where he played his high school ball alongside Jeff Trundy, who's head coach of the Falmouth Commodores. Coe this season on Cape Cod has a 1.28 ERA, making his 5th appearance tonight against the Gatemen. Throwing 7 innings pitched, giving up 9 hits, 1 earned run, another 1 unearned, walking 3, and striking out 8. He comes in to the top of the 7th, where the Gatemen and Commodores are knotted up at 2 with Carter Bainbridge and our field reporter Logan Soforenko. I'm Trey Redfield. So glad you're with us tonight. It's a crucial game. It really is. These are 2 teams at the bottom of the Western Division standings. I know, hold that thought. 2 teams that are 4th and 5th. Bear with me here. Only 4 teams in each division. Not really only. 4 teams in each division, totaling up to 8, make the Cape Cod Baseball League playoffs. Wareham and Falmouth are separated by just 1 point. So whoever wins tonight, and if that's Falmouth in the Commodores' case, then they will get in front of the Gatemen and will put themselves in playoff position. It's Derek Fabian at the plate. He's down 0-1. He's the guy that made this a 2-2 game. He's now 1-1 on the Florida Gator, but he had himself a 2-run RBI single in the top of the 4th inning. Falmouth had 1 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd, but the 2 spot put up by this guy at the plate is the reason why you see couple of 2s on your screen. So 1-2 now on Fabian. He's 1 for 2 today. Went down swinging on 3 pitches to start off the top of the 3rd inning. The 1-2. Tipped in and out of the glove of Cromwick. So we'll do that 1-2 pitch again.
And if there's a pitch right now that Josh Hartle is grinding his teeth over in the dugout after 4 innings of 2-run ball, it is that pitch he threw to Fabian that got hit for the 2-run single. The guy who's coming into the day hitting 161.
He ropes one out to left field, but Boyers makes the grab for the first out. That may have been the cleanest hit that we have seen today, but this one just doesn't hit the ground. Instead finds glove.
Yeah, Fabian has squared it up twice. First time against Hartle, this time off Coe, who has been dynamic this summer for the Dores. He's been great out of the pen as a left-hander. You talked about the ERA, so for Coe, it's just a continuation of what he did at UConn, 3.79 ERA in 38 innings. Coming back to the Cape another year. He was with Bourne last summer, but ended up not pitching a game for the Braves.
Chase Davis now the one at the plate, fouls the first pitch back to make it 0-1. Davis is 0 for 3 today, now sitting at 7 of 21 on the season. Grounded out to first in the first to start off, flew out to center in the third, and went down looking on a 1-2 count in the fourth. Did he check his swing? He did. 1-1. Co trying to keep this a 2-2 game, make the offense's life a little bit easier going into the bottom half. As the 1-1 sails high, now 2-1 on Davis. Comes out of Arizona. He started 62 of 63 games in 2022 for the Wildcats, improving his batting average by 56 points from his freshman season up to 289 this past year. 2-1 comes in at 78 miles an hour. Nasty change up there from Co to make it 2-2.
And the advantage for the Dores today is that he's been fed a steady diet of left-handed pitching. First Hartle, now Co.
Fouled straight back again. Would have gone right over my head. So we'll do the 2-2 again.
Davis, a guy you desperately need to keep off base in this lineup right now because Windish and Anderson on deck and in the hole are as good a hitters as you're going to find in this league right now, at least guys that hot. But Davis has been great as well. I mean, 7 for your first 18 coming into the night.
7 of 21 right now. He sends a flare over to the left side, and it bounces just foul. That was close. Luke Boyers played that like he thought it was going to go foul, and he was right, but not by much.
Yep, tough call, but the right call for this umpiring crew. J.C. Fernandez over there, the third base umpire. I mean, you don't hit 289 with Arizona in the Pac-12 unless you get a few of those, but fortunately for the Dores, that one landed beyond the chalk and foul ground. Now Coe's trying to get back and fire another quality pitch to this left-handed bat. A guy who just led the Wildcats in a couple different categories. Runs scored, home runs with 18, and walks.
Co calls time. First time we've had time called today, if I remember correctly. Waiting to see a Commodore hitter call time on the other side of the inning with Michael Sansone working really slow, but using it to his advantage. The 2-2. Right down Broadway, and he gets Davis on strikes. The second backwards K delivered to the rising sophomore, and there is 2 gone with Hogan Windish coming out to the plate.
The Dores have done an excellent job today limiting this first 3 in the order. Davis now 0 for 4, Windish 0 for 2 with a walk, and Max Anderson on deck 0 for 3 so far. Now, this is the key to taking down Wareham. It's a tie game right now, but the Dores have put themselves in position to succeed if they can continue to get these guys out.
That's the SoCon Player of the Year that you're looking at in Hogan Windish, coming out of the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. 1-0 misses low, now 2-0. And this is a guy who just gets better as the season goes along. You know, he's played most of his baseball in North Carolina. He's from Ashe County, which is in the northwestern part of the Tar Heel State. Plays college ball in Greensboro. Spent last summer the High Point Thomasville High Toms in the Coastal Plain League, which is not that far from High Point. Hogan Windish did not go around on the 2-0, so it's now 3-0. So kind of broadening his horizons is Windish, coming all the way up here in Massachusetts.
Well, he's just looking for that tougher competition, and he has handled it with aplomb so far.
He's gotten better each and every time he has played a season. His average improved from last collegiate season to now, and he's doing the same thing here with summer ball. 3-1 misses high, and that's ball 4 for Windish, who is now aboard for the 4th time today, but he's 0 for 2 in 4 plate appearances. Carter, he got aboard the first 2 times via the error, and now he's walked twice.
And it's just a repeat of having watched this guy play a lot in the Coastal Plain League last summer. The High Toms are probably the biggest geographic rival to the team I was with, the Asheboro Copperheads, and it seemed like every single time they played him, he was on base.
Sounded like a broken record probably every time he got aboard.
it was always walks or doubles. I mean, he just doesn't chase. And you see that skill set here with Wareham as well. You have to throw him strikes. And then even on 2 strikes, he can hit.
Max Anderson does something very similar. As he goes around there, it's now 1-1. But Anderson, a very disciplined hitter. Logan was talking about how great of a hitter he is this season. Tonight he's 0 for 3, but I mean, that doesn't entail what he's been doing this season. He's been in this spot in the 3-hole for most of the year. He's really earned it. Swings at the 1-1. It's fouled back. Now 1-2. I mean, this year he's hitting .292 with a home run and 11 RBIs. And this year he was leading the Cornhuskers in hits, home runs, RBIs, a point under 300 in batting average. Swings at the 1-2 over to Mooney at short. Flips to the second to close out the top of the 7th, making the easy play. So it's time to stretch here at Guv Fuller Field. But when we come back, the hottest hitter for the Dores is coming up, Andrew Pinckney, to lead things off in the bottom of the 7th when we come back.
Wheel.
I'm not a gymnast. I think I'd pull something if I did a cartwheel.
Would you rather be able to fly or be invisible?
I'm going to go with fly, honestly. I think flying would be pretty cool. Be able to be up in the air around everybody, you know, fly with some birds. Be pretty cool stuff, Carson.
Okay, Anders, now do your best and favorite dance move.
And the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in a...
Welcome back to Guv Fuller Field, where the Wareham Gatemen and the Falmouth Commodores are still knotted at 2 apiece. The Falmouth Commodores have tomorrow off, kind of, as they will be going to Fenway Park to participate in the 2022 workout day. But then they're back at home for the first of 4 home games this coming week. And this week there are a lot of things on the line. 5 of these matchups out of the 6 before the next off day are against Western Division teams. The other one is against the Brewster Whitecaps. And if the Dores beat the Caps, they will finish their season against the Brewster Whitecaps with 3 wins, no losses, and a tie. If the Falmouth Commodores defeat the Katuitt Kettleers on Sunday at Lowell Park, the Falmouth Commodores will clinch the season series against the Western Division rivals. Guys, back to you.
Well, Logan, thanks so much. We're still knotted up at 2 here at Guv Fuller Field as we head into the bottom of the 7th. There's a new guy on the mound for the Gatemen, and the Commodores are probably saying finally after Michael Sansone gives up only 2 earned runs along with 4 hits, 3 of them staying in the infield, throwing 6 really strong innings, Carter. But now it's Weston, a rising senior out of Michigan, trying to keep it a 2-2 tie right now with the Guv.
And again, Sansone didn't walk a batter. I mean, that's another symptom of when he's going right. He had his command today, and the Dores had a tough time dealing with it. But now they get to see a pitcher who throws from the other side, and that's Cameron Weston, the right-hander out of Canonsburg, Pennsylvania. He's a Michigan Wolverine in the collegiate level. 20 games and 11 starts for the Wolverines this spring, 4.74 ERA and 81 2/3 innings. 92 hits, 43 earned, 38 walks, 92 strikeouts, though, catches your eye. This is a guy with punch-out stuff. Fastball 90 to 93, has a plus changeup as his primary out pitch, and a slider in the low 80s. So he's got a solid 3-pitch mix, and has been doing his work against some good Big Ten competition, partner.
He sure has. Big Ten, one of the best conferences in the nation, I should say. I was going to say in college baseball, but that'll play too. But, I mean, this season as well, he has a 0.64 ERA, making his 6th appearance. He's going up against the hottest hitter in Falmouth right now in Andrew Pinckney. Looks at strike 1, knee level. Pinckney yesterday had an RBI triple. He was flying around the base paths. But recently he's been hitting a lot of home runs. There was a stage just a couple of days ago where he had 3 home runs in his last 4 games. As he looks at ball 1, the outer half. It's one of those runs scored today. He got aboard via an infield single. I said it, and I'm going to keep saying it as well because nothing much has been working for the Falmouth offense today. 4 hits, 3 of them staying in the infield. Bouncer on the right side. Graham making that easy grab over there and beating out Pinckney with an uninsisted ground out. 1 gone in the bottom of the 7th. So now it brings up Drew Brutcher. Brutcher is 1 for 2 today, has himself a single. Did it right after Andrew Pinckney did in the second inning. Seen him go yard just a couple of days ago, Carter. Potentially could do that right here. Swings and misses at the first pitch, strike one.
That was Brutcher who hit that 3-run home run in the 9th inning against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Took a pitch from right-hander Starks for Hyannis and deposited over the left field wall.
Fouls the 0-1 back. Now 0-2 on Drew. Comes out of South Florida where he started in all 43 games that he played in. Was dealing with a lower body injury. Still a great season. 299, 13 home runs, 40 RBIs. A lot of high hopes for him in the American Athletic Conference. He made the preseason All-AAC team this year. Weston with the 0-2. On the outer half, and it freezes Brutcher. 3 strikes, 3 pitches, 2 gone. Still tied at 2.
Well, the numbers slowly creeping up for Brutcher this season. He was hitting down in the 130s for a period of time, up to 179 entering the night, but strikeouts have been a problem for him. First tonight, 24th on the season. So we've seen him with only 1 multi-hit game this year. The numbers slowly creeping up, but no dice so far today.
Here's Jackson Nicholas. Has himself a sacrifice fly in the second that brought home Pinckney. It was the first run of the game. He starts his second at bat, ahead 1-0. Nicholas went down looking in the 4th, you were saying?
Well, I was going to say that you really hope that Nicholas has a quick adjustment period to the Cape. Typically when you see guys come in, new signings mid-season, it takes them a couple games to get up to speed, seeing the nation's premier collegiate pitchers on the mound every single day.
1-1 inside, 2-1 now.
But Nicholas had a 1-for-3 day yesterday, drove in a run. He has an RBI today on a sac fly, which is all he needed to do with runners at second and third and 1 down back in the second. So you hope that he can start producing for this lineup. He's an intriguing guy to watch.
2-1, hit out to right center field. Davis to his left, and he makes the grab over in the Falmouth Triangle to close out the 7th inning. So still nothing doing for the Dores, who go down in order yet again. That's the 4th straight bottom half that Falmouth has gone down 1-2-3. We'll find out what Falmouth can do defensively as we head into the top of the 8th, tied at 2.
Commodore fans, thanks for joining us and cheering on your Falmouth Commodores. Want to take a break from the action? Come make a visit to the merchandise booth. Check us out behind home plate. We have a bunch of new designs for you to purchase, from hats to shirts, jerseys, crew necks, wine glasses, and even baby bibs. You think of it, we probably have it. From youth sizes to even adult double XLs. We have everything you need for family and friends. Be sure to come say hello and get a piece of Falmouth merch. Make a trip before we close up shop in the 9th inning. See you soon, and roll Dores.
We're now into the top of the 8th inning here at Guv Fuller Field. Gatemen 2, Commodores 2 with Carter Bainbridge and our field reporter Logan Soforenko. I'm Trey Redfield. You see that guy on your screen? He hasn't had a bad season at all on Cape Cod. That's Levi Wells, righty out of Texas State. This season he has a 1.54 ERA in 11 2/3 innings pitched, giving up just 2 earned runs and striking out 16. Carter, this has been the guy for the Dores in the later parts of the innings, mainly the 8th inning, and he has dominated when he has come in.
Yeah, this is a pretty early spot to see Wells out of the bullpen. He's typically been a set-up type reliever. We've seen him pitch the 9th at least once this season, and he's got dynamite stuff. Good fastball and a snapping curveball. Also throws a slider. All 3 quality pitches, and he hasn't given up a run in his last 7 2/3 innings. The last time he did was June 19th in his 2nd appearance of the year. Gave up both runs he's had against him this season in 1 outing against Orleans. So Levi's been going great as of late. He's a high-octane arm out of this bullpen. Falmouth tasking him with keeping this game tied heading into the 9th.
And he was a starter at Texas State. He started in 16 games, making 18 appearances. He went 8-3 on the season with a 3.07 ERA, striking out 86 batters. That was good enough to earn him a first-team spot this year in the Sun Belt Conference. He's a two-time Sun Belt Pitcher of the Week this year, and he was only a reliever with Texas Tech over in Lubbock. Didn't make too many appearances over there with the Red Raiders. Comes over to Texas State and has a great season, and is having another great season here this summer with Falmouth. But he comes onto the mound against 4-5-6 for Wareham, and it starts with Kellum Clark. He's 1 for 3 today with a leadoff single in the fourth, which was how Wareham got its runs, or that's when Wareham got its runs. Clark was the start of it, a two-spot put up in the fourth inning after 4 singles were hit by the Gatemen. First pitch misses outside. Cromick loses handle of it, so it's 1-0 on Clark. And here's a stat for you. We have not had an extra base hit in this game. All singles. 1-0. Swing and a miss. Count even.
And that's for both teams.
Yes. 9 hits, 9 singles.
It's pretty atypical for two teams that do a lot of slugging. Falmouth up at the top in the leaderboard for home runs. Wareham a high-scoring team.
1-2 now. And the Commodores have been statistically one of the worst hitting teams on Cape Cod. Going into the halfway point, the Dores were one of 3 teams to hit under 200 alongside the Chatham Anglers and Harwich Mariners. But when Falmouth does hit, it goes with a big fly. Extra base hits. 1-2 misses low. Count even this time at 2. And when Wareham hits, it's just all over the place.
Seems to come in bunches for these Gatemen. And Kellum Clark is a part of this. This is a guy, I feel a little uneasy with him at the plate. He would be a candidate for me for most underrated in the Cape League so far.
2-2 hits to the left side. Spoiled foul and out of play. We'll do it again.
You know, he's never been the main character when Falmouth has played Wareham this season, but entering the day, hitting .271, 5 doubles. Does his playing at Mississippi State, so you know he's faced tough pitching.
Has himself a run scored today as well. 2-2 comes in. Fouled yet again. Chapter 3 of the 2-2 coming up.
And he's the guy who comes to mind for me immediately when I think of Wareham and long at bats. He stays alive, sees a lot of pitches in his PAs. He's doing it right here against Wells, who usually puts down people in 3 or 4 pitches.
Another one fouled, this time to the left side over to the Wareham dugout. And this was one of the guys, Carter, when we were on top of that third base dugout for the first meeting between these two. He's a reason why we stayed around for a little while. In that 5 spot put up in the bottom of the 9th inning, Clark was one of those guys who kept fighting until the very end and then sent one out into play, bouncing off the wall in left field. That's just what he brings to the table, Kellum Clark, and he keeps it going.
And he's hitting .350 so far in July, at least entering the evening. So he's been hot lately.
Not an ideal way to start for Levi Wells. Hasn't given up anything yet, but this one's a battle. And it hasn't ended just yet. Count full. Man, that was close.
We've seen a wider strike zone horizontally today than we have vertically. Not a lot of high strikes. Hartle didn't get a lot of low calls, but inside and outside has worked for every pitcher who's been in so far.
And Wells loses the battle. What an at-bat from Kellum Clark. Wells is upset with that one. He thought he had strike 3 not once but twice, but it's a leadoff walk for Kellum Clark. That's now the 4th straight top half where Wareham has put on the leadoff guy.
This offense keeps the pressure on you, and Wareham is a team that has cycled through its fair share of outfielders. Ty Evans, the guy who hit the home run in these two teams' last game, is no longer with the Wareham Gatemen. But Clark has been in here each of these times that these two teams have played, and at-bats like that are why.
Campos shows bunt, pulls it back, makes the right move as it's ball 1, missing outside.
Well, it's been a pitcher's day. Strike zone has been a big part of that, but we've seen some quality pitching both sides. Wareham's seen the Dores play small ball. Now it might be their turn to put one in play against Wells.
Campos shows bunt again, pulls it back, but this one's a strike, and the count is even. Campos was the first run scored today. He's 1 for 3 with a single. Falmouth put up 1 in the 2nd, another one in the 3rd. Wareham responded in the next half inning with 2 of its own in the top of the 4th. 1-1. Campos showing bunt again. Lays it down right in front with Wells. Throws down the second, and there's out number 1. Risky play there by Levi Wells, but he beats Kellum Clark by just a couple of steps.
And not a fantastic bunt by Campos, who didn't sacrifice a single time this spring at Arizona State. And bunting it right back to the mound is never what you want to do. Wells with good presence of mind and a pretty solid throw to second base. It was a close play, but I think the right move and the right call. If you pull it off, it's a good play. If you mess it up, you're the GOAT. But Wells got it done. And now Graham is a guy at the plate who Wells can probably deal with.
First pitch to him. This is low and away, ball 1. Graham has himself a couple of singles today, one in the second and another in the fourth. And I got to give this guy credit. On the back of his helmet, he has a Batman sticker on there. It's pretty sick. 1-0. Swing and a miss, count even at 1. Trying to propel Wareham and Gotham City to a win. Right now in the standings, the Gatemen sit at 4th place with 23 points. The Commodores right behind them in 5th with 22. So if Falmouth wins, it jumps Wareham in the standings, moving itself back into playoff position. 1-1 gets away from Wells, but Cromwood keeps it in front of him. It's now 2-1.
We've seen Wells with better command this season, that's for sure. His fastball has good ride on it so far, good life, but he's having trouble spotting it. And I'm a little surprised we haven't seen more curveballs from him. That's usually a pitch that he sprinkles in there about as much as the fastball, at least when he's on. He said to me that he likes to throw that in at the end of the count, that nose-to-toes hook. Good break. When he throws it for strikes, it is really tough for any hitter against him to put it in play.
Pick-off play at first. Walsh doesn't even apply a tag.
But it makes you think, if Wells was warming up, maybe he just doesn't have a good feel for that curveball tonight. We saw a good one to Clark that he laid off of with 2 strikes. Since then, haven't really seen any.
2-1 is tipped off the bat of Graham, so the count is now even at 2. Last time Graham came up to the plate, he popped out to Alex Mooney on a 2-2 count to lead off the top of the 6th inning. That was the only time the Gatemen have come up tonight where they got sat down 1-2-3. Each and every other time, there have been more than 3 hitters coming up, at least 4.
Now the Gatemen have left 7 so far tonight through 7 innings.
2-2 misses outside. Wells upset with himself after that one, and the count is full. The second full count in this top half of the 8th inning. And to your point about the guys left on base, that all happened in the first 5 innings. 1 in the first, another in the second, another in the third, 2 of them in the 4th, and then the last one coming in the 5th. 3-2, runner goes. He got him on strikes at home, and he's safe over at second. Mooney and Stovall both lose it, but Pinckney scoops it up in center field, serving as the second backup, and that's enough to keep Campos over there at second base. So down looking goes Graham, and it now brings up Blake Wright. You don't want to have him up, knowing how well he does against the Commodores. We said it last at-bat, but a fly out to center field doesn't mean much, even though you talk about the other games that he's killed the Commodores in.
But dish credit on Josiah Cromwick on that last play. I don't want that to get lost in the shuffle. Hardly ever see that call. With a guy stealing, the catcher comes up and whips the ball to second. Called strike 3 is just not something you see when that happens. So he stayed down there long enough for Brandon Johnson behind the plate to see and then made the throw. Didn't get there in time, but that second out is a big key.
It's ripped out to Mooney. Said it hit the ground, so he just makes the play either way, throwing it over to first in time to close out the top of the 8th. So still nothing doing for Blake Wright, who goes down to 0 for 4. And those guys, along with many others on the Dores, trying to put themselves up 1 when we come back. Want a house of Falmouth Commodore? Be sure to sign up to become a host family today. Hosting a Cape League player can be very rewarding. Players connect and bond with the families, often forming lifelong relationships.
please remember that every Commodores player is bound and governed by NCAA rules and regulations. In order to maintain their collegiate athletic ability, host families receive a weekly allowance from the Falmouth Commodores to help cover player expenses. Host families are not required to provide transportation to players. The Falmouth Commodores are very grateful to the wonderful families that host our players each and every year. If you are interested in hosting a Falmouth Commodores player for the summer, contact our housing coordinator, Lisa Smuda, at lisatz143@comcast.net. For more information, visit our website at falmouthcommodores.com. Thank you for supporting our players, and roll Dores.
We welcome you back to Guv Fuller Field. 2-2 is your score between the Gatemen and Commodores. And if you're just joining us, this game is really important. If Falmouth wins today, as you can see with the Western Division standings, with a Falmouth win, it grabs 2 points, leaving the Gatemen with nothing. What would that mean is that the Commodores would jump the Gatemen in the standings. Remember, 4 teams in each division make the CCBL playoffs, with 5th place in both divisions getting left out. So, Carter, this one's massive, knowing we're seeing the stretch right around the corner. This is really the start of it. We're at that point of the year where we're looking at other teams around the Cape and seeing what they're doing.
And the Dores would be only 2 points behind the Braves if they lose. Bourne has really been treading water most of the season.
First pitch to Luke Boyers is sent into center field and through for a base hit. 1 pitch, 1 leadoff single. That's the best way you want to start off the bottom of the 8th inning. Luke Boyers and the Dores will take that any day of the week.
And Boyer's a guy who has struggled with the bat this summer, entering the evening just 3 for 27. We saw him with a hit yesterday at Brewster. But now, Jeff Trunny can do a couple different things in this dugout. He's got Chestnut at the plate, who's shown that he can bunt. Did it for a hit in this game. Boyers has decent speed over at first base. He stole 11 bases at TCU. So if you're trying to get aggressive and trying to play to run for the first time since the 3rd, this is the way.
Chestnut shows bunt and looks at strike 1. He doesn't like it, rolling his neck after strike 1 was called by Brandon Johnson, the home plate umpire.
The Dores only have so many more outs to play with, and they don't want to tie tonight.
Man, would that be frustrating. We haven't talked about it much because that would just not be fun. Each team grabbing a point, which would mean Wareham would move up with 24. Falmouth would do the same with 23. But in the trying to get past the Gateman category, there'd be no dice. Chestnut shows bunt again, over to the left side. Fabian has it. Throws it over to first in time for the first out, but Travis Chestnut does his job, moving Boyers over to second base.
Well, you said it. He did his job. We mentioned as he came to the plate that we could see a bunt, and that's exactly what was put on. Chestnut providing a valuable skill in that number 9 spot. Because what that does is it brings around the top of the order guys who have been hitting very, very well this month with decent speed at second base. This is white-knuckle time for the Wareham dugout and exactly the situation that Jeff Trundy wanted for his Falmouth Commodores.
So Harvey Shapiro not coming out, just the pitching coach for Wareham. So trying to get situational here. Cameron Weston's going to stay in. This is his 2nd inning of work after replacing Michael Sansone, who blew through the Commodores, gave up just 2 earned runs, walking none and striking out 5 in 6 innings pitched. So the Gatemen trying to talk things over. Alex Mooney will come up for the Commodores with Luke Boyers on second base and 1 gone in the bottom of the 8th inning. We're tied up at 2. This one coming down to the wire. We were talking about Bourne a little bit. It's leading Katuitt right now 5-3 at Dorn Park. And then elsewhere, with our friends in the Western Division, Hyannis is leading Orleans 2-1 in the bottom of the 5th at Eldridge Park.
Well, if Hyannis wins and Katuitt loses, the Hawks are only going to be 1 point behind them.
You saw it on our screen. Katuitt had 32. Hyannis had 29 going into today. As Alex Mooney looks at ball 1, low and away. So with Boyers on second, Carter, what do you do here with Mooney? You just let him hit away?
I let him swing for sure. Not trying to play small ball with a guy who's been hitting over 360 in July. But this might be Weston's last batter with Cromwick and 2 lefties coming up.
The 1-0. Too low. Ball 2. Good eye by Mooney.
That meeting on the mound could have very well been to say focus up on Mooney, and we'll get someone else in here to deal with Cromwick, Stovall, and Walsh. 2 guys in the 3 and 4 spots that have yet to have a hit against a lefty between them this summer.
Boyers is the man on second. 2-0 misses low and away. Very similar spot to the last pitch, and Mooney has himself a healthy lead on the count. Now 3-0.
We've seen that outside corner called a strike a lot today, but Weston isn't giving himself a chance. They're not close enough to Mooney to get the call from Brandon Johnson behind the plate.
Mooney's 1 for 3 today with an infield single that came in the 3rd. Mooney shows bunt, pulls it back, strike 1. Got to be smart here. We already see the small ball be played, but will Jeff Trundy do it again? Carter says no. Commodores trying to put themselves back in front. We haven't seen a run since the top of the 4th inning when Wareham put up all 2 of its runs. The 3-1. Mooney rips it to the left side. Diving play by Wright. Throws over to third, and they got Boyers over there at third base. What a heads-up play by Blake Wright. There's 2 gone in the bottom of the 8th. Mooney gets over to first safely via the fielder's choice. But, man, Carter, that is a big blow to Falmouth.
And how many times today have we talked about Blake Wright being a Commodore killer? He's now sauntering around over there at shortstop after a fabulous play, diving to his right. Knew he didn't have a play at first. It wasn't going to be in time with Mooney sprinting down the line, but great presence of mind to make that throw to third. Fabian with the tag, and that spoils a lot for the Commodores here in this inning.
First pitch to Josiah Cromwick misses low and away for ball 1. Weston trying to go with his slider, but has hit that spot a lot in this bottom half.
You know, that not a play that you see made a lot, but that's why this Wareham defense has made the fewest errors in the league so far. They are sound, and they change games.
Chopper over there at third base. Fabian has it. Throws over to first and closes out the 8th inning. The Commodores were oh so close to getting back in front, but Boyers got tagged out. We'll try to do it in the next bottom half, but have to get it done defensively going into the top of the 9th. 2-2 your score here at the Guv.
Looking forward to the most with the Commodores is just the chance to work with some really talented people, whether that be on the broadcast team or any other interns. I'm a part of the broadcast team, so I get to work with Trey and Logan, and I think that both of them are just super talented. I'm really happy I get to work with both of them because I feel like I'll learn as much from them as they will from me, and I'm just really excited to be able to improve my craft with 2 guys who are focused on the exact same thing.
My favorite part about being a Commodore intern is that I get to work on not only my videography skills, but also meet and work with other people that are really dedicated to this field of work.
I think just having the opportunity to work with a lot of people that are interested in the sports media business, especially when it comes to baseball. This is the premier league for collegiate players, and I think that getting the opportunity to work with a lot of people from across the country to have this one bond and the love is for baseball and helping these players develop, I think it's going to be something really cool, and it's going to be an amazing experience.
Top of the 9th inning here at Guv Fuller Field, where we are tied at 2 between the Gatemen and the Commodores. Speaking of the Commodores, this is their upcoming schedule. A couple of home games coming up against the Bourne Braves, followed by the Brewster Whitecaps. Last time we'll see Brewster this season comes on July 13th. Quick trip to Hyannis after that, but mostly home games, and that's something I know you and I like to see, driving to all these away games. Bourne Braves come back on July 15th, followed by these guys the Commodores are going up against right now. Last trip took it 2. It comes on the 17th of July, along with another last trip, July 19th. The Commodores will take on the Orleans Firebirds. So it's Owen Diodati coming up to the plate. He's pinch hitting for Jack Hausinger, who finishes his evening going 0 for 3. Levi Wells on the mound for his 2nd inning of work, as this is crunch time. After this, there's no extra innings. If this game ends 2-2, it will end 2-2 in a tie. First pitch to Diodati. Right down Broadway, strike 1. After this game today, the Commodores will be at Fenway Park for an off-day workout. Diodati comes out of Oregon. His first pitch to him is a bouncer up the middle and through for a base hit. The pinch hitter does his job, grabbing, a leadoff single.
Well, the battle between one of the more immovable objects on the Cape and the former Levi Wells loses the battle between one of the more unstoppable forces. That's been Owen Diodati so far. 6 for his first 17 entering tonight. Make him 7 for 18, off to a red-hot start at the plate. And gets things started here for the Gatemen in the 9th inning.
So here's Derek Fabian. He's been the Commodores' kryptonite today and showing bunt. Pulls it back. It's at the knees, strike one. Good pitch placement there from Wells.
Well, Diodati barely ran over at Alabama, and Wareham barely does as a team. Only 9 stolen bases this season. The next fewest in the entire league is 21 over in Harwich. So this Gateman team is station to station.
Fabian showing bunt again. Gets barrel on it, but it's fouled back. Now it's 0-2. Do you risk it here, bunting with 2 strikes? I would say no. But we have seen people do that.
Definitely not. You may be tempted with your number 9 hitter, but the last thing you want to do here is strike out. Of course, a double play would be worse. But Fabian today already did have that 2-run single, and he hit the ball very well his last time up off of Garrett Coe. Got to let him swing.
The 0-2. Bouncer on the right side. Walsh lets it get through him. Stovall can't get it. Rutcher picks it up in right field. Going over to third is Diodati, and Wareham is in business. The runners are at the corners with no one gone in the top of the 9th. The go-ahead run, Carter, is just 90 feet away.
Third error of the day for Falmouth, but this one could certainly be the costliest. We've seen one on Mooney, we've seen one on Nicholas, and now an uncharacteristic misplay by Jacob Walsh over at first base. We've seen him make some leaping plays using his 6'4" frame. We've seen him block a lot of errant throws, but that was definitely one of his worst plays of the season.
Now the infield comes in for the Commodores. Chase Davis at the plate. Pops up the first pitch. Over to the right side with Stovall. He makes the grab for the first out, and a big one, too.
Well, you said it. Big-time play against a big-time hitter. 0 for 5 today for Davis. Uncharacteristically slow day at the plate. I know what I just said about Walsh sounded awfully harsh, but it's only because he's been so solid over there at first base. Just not a play you see from him a lot, letting a ground ball get through him. And now you've got to deal with 2 of the best hitters on the Cape, 2 all-star quality guys.
One of them right there, Hogan Windish. He's gone aboard 4 times today, but both via errors. A couple of them came in his first at-bats. The other 2 plate appearances were walks. Fabian over at first base. Diodati at third. Wells trying to get out of a jam. The 1-0. Strike one. Count even.
There's that tight slider from Wells, who didn't throw a lot of breaking stuff in the 8th inning when he first came in. He was relying heavily on that fastball and didn't have great command of it. It has good life, but you like to see that extra secondary stuff now coming out.
1-1. Roped into right center field, and that's going to get down. Coming home, the score is Diodati. Rounding second, trying to go for third is Fabian. Windish is at second base. Diodati coming home to score. It's a 2-run RBI double from Hogan Windish, and he may have just applied nails into Falmouth's coffin right there. Oh, that's heartbreaking for the Dores. Hogan Windish coming in clutch. It's now 4-2 Gatemen.
Well, this top 3 in the order had been quiet today. Davis 0 for 5, Windish 0 for 2, Anderson so far 0 for 4, but you just can't hold this guy down. 2 RBI double, and he just keeps on hitting. And off a pitcher like Wells, too. Perhaps the Dores' best reliever, but advantage Windish.
Ball 1 to Max Anderson. That is so tough. You look at the standings, and you create a big frown, because Wareham's right now 1 point ahead of Falmouth in the Western Division standings. Now 1-1 to Anderson, but the Gatemen with 23 points sitting in 4th place. The Commodores with 22 in 5th place. Falmouth can't get it back in this bottom half of the 9th inning. You could say it's in trouble. Swing and a miss from Anderson there. It's now 1-2 on the Nebraska Cornhusker, who has reached base just once via fielder's choice. He's 0 for 4 today. But a tough break there, delivered by Hogan Windish. He's on second right now, and he's going. 1-2, popped up to the right side. Walsh moving towards foul ground near his dugout. Goes onto the dirt and makes the grab for the second out.
Well, if you told the Dores that entering the 9th inning the Gatemen would have 2 runs and you held Chase Davis and Max Anderson over, they would have signed that contract right then and there and probably expected to win 100 out of 100 times. But instead, sloppy defense today for the Dores and timely hitting from the Gatemen, but specifically Hogan Windish here in the 9th, have propelled them in front.
Callum Clark has one of the 7 hits today for the Gatemen. He swings at the first pitch over to second base. Stovall with it and closes out the top of the 9th. So the Commodores with some work to do. Don't go anywhere, though. The heart of the order is coming up. Crunch time here at the Guv. The Dores are down 2, heading into the bottom of the 9th.
To House of Falmouth Commodore, be sure to sign up to become a host family today. Hosting a Cape League player can be very rewarding. Players connect and bond with the families, often forming lifelong relationships. Please remember that every Commodores player is bound and governed by NCAA rules and regulations. In order to maintain their collegiate athletic ability, host families receive a weekly allowance from the Falmouth Commodores to help cover player expenses. Host families are not required to provide transportation to players. The Falmouth Commodores are very grateful to the wonderful families that host our players each and every year. If you are interested in hosting a Falmouth Commodores player for the summer, contact our housing coordinator, Lisa Smuda, at lisatz143@comcast.net. For more information, visit our website at falmouthcommodores.com. Thank you for supporting our players, and roll Dores.
The heart of the order coming up for the Falmouth Commodores. Ellie Fidelli, one of our videographers, alongside many Commodore fans, are hoping the Dores can tie this thing back up at least, trailing 4-2 to the Wareham Gatemen. It's Peyton Stovall, the man in the 3 spot, leading things off in the bottom of the 9th inning. Jacob Walsh will follow, and after that is Andrew Pinckney. Now or never, partner.
Well, the Dores have the heart of the order up. That's your positive, Stovall, Walsh, and Pinckney. 3 guys who can do a lot of damage and do it quickly, especially against right-handed pitchers. But they're going to have to do it against Cameron Weston, who is yet to allow a run. This is his 3rd inning of relief work. We see a defensive change for Wareham as well. Brian Padilla now playing second base.
Comes in for Jack Hausinger, who got pinch hit by Owen Diodati. So Padilla comes in for Diodati technically. Strike 1 delivered to Peyton Stovall, who is 0 for 3 today with an RBI ground out. He's the reason why Falmouth put up 1 in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Cameron Weston on for his 3rd inning of work. He's now ahead 0-2 on the Arkansas Razorback. What is that with me saying raisins with Razorback? I'm not going to ask you about raisins again. You're not ready. You didn't want it, so we're just going to leave it. The 0-2. Stovall gets a piece of it. Over at shortstop, right. Throws at the first, 1 down. Now brings up Jacob Walsh. 0 for 3 today. Couple of strikeouts. They came in the 2nd and 3rd innings. This game's been flying by. We are 2 hours and 23 minutes in, and we are already in the bottom of the 9th inning. So even with Michael Sansone working very slowly for the Gatemen. We're still moving. Strike one delivered to Walsh. Oh, 1. Finds the inner half. Walsh doesn't like it. It's now 0-2 on the rising sophomore out of Oregon, who is flirting with 300 this season.
Well, Walsh, this is his first time facing a right-hander today, but he's not going to do a lot with pitches like that.
Swings at the 0-2. Bouncer on the right side. Graham has it at first. Tosses to Wesson, and the Commodores are down to their final out. So here's Andrew Pinckney. If you want someone up at the plate, this is the guy, Carter.
Well, Pinckney found himself in a similar situation just 2 days ago against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. He was hitting with Cromwell at first base and 2 down in the 9th inning. He then singled to extend the inning before Brutcher's 3-run home run. So the Dores ended up losing that game, but Pinckney is hot a hitter in this lineup as the Dores have.
First pitch to Andrew. Low and outside. Ball 1.
Now Weston's got that sink on the fastball. A lot of movement coming into the zone. The Dores have been drilling it on the ground since he came in the 7th inning. Pinckney's got to lift something here to the outfield.
Too high. It doinks off the mask of Brandon Johnson, the home plate umpire. So it's now 2-0 on Pinckney.
Well, Andrew doesn't have to be aggressive here. Hitters count. He can afford to take a pitch. Even though you typically want to try to swing with 2-0, fastball count, got to get aboard and trying to bring the tying run up.
Pinckney fouls it off his foot, now 2-1. Pinckney has an infield single today. He was the run scored in the 2nd. Put Falmouth in front for a little while. Wareham tied it up in the 4th with 2. And then the Gatemen put up 2 more of their own in the top of the 9th. 2-1. Too high, ball 3. Not too shabby of an at-bat here from Pinckney.
And who's on deck? It's Drew Brutcher, who hit that 3-run home run against Hyannis in the 9th inning, off a right-handed pitcher.
3-1 misses outside, ball 4. Drew Brutcher serves as the tying run. Let's see if we can get some more 9th inning heroics, partner.
Well, somehow, some way, he's the guy at the plate right now with Pinckney over at first base. The Dores in this game had a streak of 13 straight batters retired, but they're coming up with just enough here in the 9th inning to make it frightening for Wareham. Brutcher, a guy with a lot of pop if he can connect on something here from Weston.
Brutcher is 1 for 3 today.
Dores have had only 1 base hit since the 3rd inning in this game. But Brutcher, with 1 big blast, can make everybody forget about that right now.
He has 2 of them this season. First pitch to him. Strike 1.
Well, Weston has the fastball with good movement. If it's sinking, it's going to be a tough ball to lift. But Brutcher is a guy with a lot of raw power, something that scouts talk about a lot.
All the boys on the first base dugout at the edge of it. 0-1 finds the zone. Now 0-2. Falmouth is down to its final strike. They want it. They at least want a point. Falmouth loses. Wareham grabs itself a 3-point lead ahead of Falmouth in the standings. 0-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Ball game. Thanks to a 2-spot put up by Hogan Windish and the Wareham Gatemen. They go across the bridge and take this one from the Commodores by a score of 4-2 here at Guv Fuller Field.
Now, this is about as tough a loss for the Dores as they've had this whole season. This is going to be a tough one to stomach in the clubhouse. 2-out knocks for Wareham today. A 2-out, 2-run single in the 4th and a 1-out rather, 2-run double in the 9th inning is what spelled trouble here. And the defense, again, trouble for the Dores today. Haven't allowed a lot of unearned runs lately, but that's going to be a theme to talk about in this one for a while. That 9th inning is tough the Dores have had this whole season. And again, Wareham able to power through in the late innings.
So the Commodores fall to 10-14-2 on the season. The Gatemen improve to 11-12-3. So that's going to do it here at Guv Fuller Field. The Commodores fall to the Gatemen by a score of 4-2, and we could not have done it without this entire crew. Our director, Sean Oldred, our videographers, Brendan Capozzi, Carson Depp, and Ellie Fideli. Liv Charbonneau doing her job with the video graphics. Boy, is she awesome with those things, partner. Dan Fox, our PA announcer, Charlotte Mocht, our director of social media, along with Megan Murphy and Anders Sailing. And our entire crew, we thank you so much for joining us. With Carter Bainbridge and our field reporter, Logan Soforenko, I'm Trey Redfield saying so long from the Gov. The Dores fall by 2 tonight.